Part 25. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 244. Neon lights in the night sky, Christmas trees decorated with LED light strips, and countless red and green screen advertisements are playing in the square. The cold wind blows through the empty pedestrian street in front of Shinjuku Kabukicho. It is obviously cold air that can condense the air, but the people coming and going make the pedestrian street full of warm and lively Christmas atmosphere. A van was parked on the side of the road. Drums, electronic keyboards, stands, benches, microphones, speakers, everything was moved down from above. By the way, it seems we don't have permission to perform on the streets, right? Raku Sakakihara jumped out of the car holding a snare drum, turned to ask Yoshihara senpai, who was standing beside him with his waist propped up and eating a lollipop. Now Yoshihara was originally looking at a guitar singer playing and singing alone across the street. After hearing Raku Sakakihara's words, she casually replied, "No. Senior, I need to remind you that when I came here just now, I saw police patrolling this street." Police? Now Yoshihara seemed completely unconcerned. "Sakakihara-kun, what is the spirit of rock and roll?" Raku Sakakibara had read the Rock Chronicles, so he knew this clearly. After installing the snare drum as requested by Nanami Mingzuki, he asked back, "Freedom?" "Yes, that's right. Freedom. A street performance permit is oppression. A cage. It's a restraint for people like us." Now Yoshiwara's eyes reflected the thin figure of the guitar singer opposite, with one hand on her hips as if she was missing something. When you see a policeman holding an instrument and running away quickly, that's the essence of being in a band. A bohemian rock band, right? Judging from the nostalgic look in the senior's eyes, he probably did this a lot in the past. "What is that person singing across the street?" Suzu Sakakihara noticed the guitar singer opposite who no one was paying attention to. "I don't know." Tianhai Yuli listened carefully after putting on the speakers. Sakakihara Raku also looked over, and it sounded familiar to him. Frowning and listening carefully, he found that he really knew it. "Broad Sea and Sky, it's the Japanese version. The singing is quite emotional." Sakakihara Suzu kept her eyes on the guitar singer's back. In the crowded street, only one spectator was willing to stay in front of him. Sakakihara looked at it for a long time and said, "I guess I'm homesick." "How do you know, brother? Did you hear it?" Sakakibara put a knife on Sakakihara Suzu's little head. "Didn't you hear that the language was changed halfway through the song? It was Cantonese, and the female audience member was still singing along with him, and she almost burst into tears." Now Yoshihara closed her eyes, supported her waist with one hand and said, "As a singer, if even one person is willing to stay and be a listener, that is lucky enough." After saying this, she immediately clapped her hands and urged the people around her, Okay, don't look at the other side, everyone, please speed up. The most important thing for a flash mob is to be fast. Start immediately after setting up. Go. As soon as Yoshihara senpai urged from behind, everyone's idleness suddenly disappeared. Everyone knows what's going to happen next. They are a small band that has only been established for a week, but they have to perform for the first time on Christmas Eve. The instruments were moved down one by one at a rapid pace. "Are you nervous?" Tianhai Minjio said sarcastically. Sakakibara laughed directly and said, "Nervous? You know I'm thick-skinned, even if I shout on the street that I'm a fool, it's no problem." "Nanamijio, you look quite calm. You're obviously just a novice on the drums." "Although I'm not nervous, it would be false to say that I don't feel anything in my heart. I've seen so many big scenes, so naturally I don't have any feelings about this situation." As soon as Nanamijetsu answered, Raku Sakakihara realized that his band was really outrageous. Not to mention Julie Yuli and Chi Minjio, their piano scene was much bigger than this. Aling is an idol voice actress. She has been working behind the scenes before. She has recently had the experience of singing on the front stage, so she probably won't be too nervous. It's just that she refuses to be recognized by fans. Ji Shui is not nervous at all. After working on it for a long time, you are the only one who pulls the strings. Sakakihara thought for a long time, feeling a little empty. Lejun is actually the most powerful among us. Huh? Why did you say that suddenly? Sakakihara looked at Tianhai Julai in confusion. Because isn't this band all brought together because of my brother? Without my brother, we would never be able to be here at this time. It has nothing to do with strength. A team has the soul to form it, the most important. No way, everyone agrees to join because they have their own goals. That being said, Amamai Kuriyuri's words of encouragement cheered up Sakakihara Raku a lot and made him take a serious attitude towards this performance. He is a bassist, and the existence of a bassist in a band is also very important. Thank you. Brother, bro, I'm actually very nervous too. When Sakakibara Suzu saw Amamai Kuriyuri talking to her brother, she immediately stood between the two of them, smiled and squeezed out Kuriyuri's position, and smiled directly at Sakakibara. Said, "You are so alive and kicking, why are you so nervous? It's true. What if I get recognized by fans? They might ask me why I suddenly joined a band. I still believe you if you meet fans in Akihabara. This is Shinjuku, Kabukicho." Snapped. Now Yoshihara put her hands together in her signature way and said with a kind smile, Okay, the chat is over. You are all ready, right? Then, get ready to start." The small talk was just a snippet, and it took less than 20 minutes from the time the van stopped to when all the facilities were ready. This speed is a real street flash mob. Several people took their seats according to the predetermined positions. Suzu Sakakihara and Yuki Amamai are the lead singers, and the guitarist occupies the front C position. Julie Yuli's keyboard is near the middle, Chi Minjiu's drum kit is near the right side, and only the bassist Sakakihara Raku is placed in the most inconspicuous lower left corner, with a Christmas tree blocking the side. If passers-by didn't look carefully, they might think this team is a four-member girl band. After everyone was in their seats, now Yoshihara stood at the front of the crowd. Under the snow on Christmas Eve and in front of countless pedestrians coming and going in front of Kabukicho, she shouted to the five of them. "All right? Everyone in Runto. The impromptu performance is ready to begin." Everyone in the band raised their right hands at the same time, responding to now Yoshihara's voice. Because this band is full of young girls, and they are all beautiful girls who can win the beauty pageant championship at any time, so some couples on the street, passers-by drinking canned beer, uncles shopping on Christmas Eve, young people, there was some curiosity in advance. A girl band. What music will be played? With this curiosity, some people began to linger in front of everyone, and more people gathered together. The noise surged in the streets, and countless dazzling advertisements landed on the heads of the stranded people. Everything is colorfully decorated with the snow on Christmas Eve. More and more people are watching, waiting silently, and can't help but clasp the neck of the piano with their fingers. Only then did Sakakihara realize that being nervous was really unavoidable. Call. He closed his eyes and blew out a puff of white mist from his lips to expel the stagnant air in his lungs to calm his mood at the moment. His left hand pressed on the chord, trying to remember the rhythm at the beginning of the practice. Silence. The silence of waiting. In the waiting silence, the 4 beats began to count down. Call. Clearly audible breathing. The clear and melodious bass of the guitar began to flow out, and Tianhai's Higsyu's fingers just repeated simple plucking. The playing without any skill at all was surprisingly intoxicating. After 3 brisk and simple guitar repetitions, soft and lyrical singing began to flow from Sakakihara Suzu's mouth. Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. It was obviously just a simple guitar accompaniment, and there was obviously no exciting, emotional, or soul-shaking rhythm. The moment Raku Sakakihara heard Suzu's clear voice from behind, he couldn't help but shiver behind his back. The enthusiastic audience also cheered for Sakakihara's Suzu and applauded. Tian Haikimingyu has an expressionless face, and the drumsticks jump back and forth on her slender hands. The rhythm and blues drum beats are inserted at the right time to stir up the burrs in the back. After the three-person ensemble performed a semi-tour, Julie Yuli's piano began to embellish the harmony brightly, like the stars in the night sky, leading everyone to accompany Aling's singing. At this moment, Sakakihara Raku's heart was affected by an indescribable force, and his fingers couldn't help but tremble with her voice. "Very good, keep it, just keep this rhythm." Sakakibara couldn't help but sigh in his heart. In his trance, he seemed to have seen a flash of light in the eyes of passers-by in front of him. They were moved by Sakakihara Suzu's ethereal voice. "Wake me up when September ends." Suzu Sakakihara's singing continues, and Amamine Wayuki's guitar continues to repeat its clear and clear guitar. The melody of the song is light and fast, but the lyrics are full of sadness and heavy atmosphere. As the music flows, the drum beats of Tian Haikimingyu become warm and exciting. What followed was the sudden explosion of Tian Higsyu's electric guitar. Everyone's hair stood on end instantly. The electric guitar moved like lightning and pierced everyone's brain. The rhythm suddenly exploded, tearing everything apart, and only Sakakihara Suzu's voice maintained the remaining tranquility. Sakakihara closed his eyes, and countless burrs had already appeared on his back. He tried his best to use his body to follow the four-quarter rhythm of the drum beat to support the structure of the entire song, and tried his best to squeeze the harmony into the drum beat like a game between fingers. And between musical notes. Being watched, expected, and appreciated. The brain seems to be immersed in the touch of the musical instrument. It feels like it is being burned by hot fire. It feels like it is being torn into pieces by the drum beats of the 7 bright moons, and is completely melted. In the music played by the companions, in the colorful neon lights that illuminate everything. It feels so great. All the blood in his body turned into a fire to resist the cold. Sakakibara's left hand was tightly clasped on the metal strings, constantly matching the head-shaking drum beats of Amami 7 Moons, and the stimulating and ear-piercing repetitions of Amami no Snow's electric guitar like a silver snake. Section, and then follow their rhythm, moving forward step by step, step by step. Summer has come and passed. Sakakihara Suzu's singing became clearer and clearer as the rhythm became more intense. Don't hold back at all. Swallowing the dry saliva hard, trying his best to squeeze the rhythm into the rhythm, his brain kept distinguishing the drum beats engraved by Amami Nanamayu. In the crazy rising rhythm with Amami Nazuki's expressionless face, Sakakibara felt that he had lost himself, only a pair of fingers were left tightly clasping the coiled metal strings. Dazzling lights and a few people singing along with Sakakibara's Suzu. So comfortable. Tian Haikimingyu used her trembling body to drive the drum set and beat out the rhythm. Julie Yuli used the piano to make the whole song relaxed and bright. Backlit silhouettes of Suzu Sakakihara facing the microphone and Yuki Amami holding an electric guitar. Sakakibara Rakuzu has already observed it. He could see everyone, and he could hear everyone struggling to piece together the song. Isn't this all pretty good? While Sakakihara used his bass to increase the tension in the middle part of the song, he was already laughing from the bottom of his heart. Turns out this is what it feels like to be in a band, what it feels like to actually play together in front of an audience. Even if it's not very mature, even if it's not perfect. But it's enough to see everyone's efforts. Thanks for your hard work. Very nice. Great. One more. Yes. One more song. The music stopped, but the voices of the passers-by did not stop. They looked at the 5-member band in front and applauded without hesitation with both hands. Applauding, whistling, and silent shouting, all kinds of people cast their eyes over. The dazzling neon lights of Kabukicho across the street, the applause and trance of the audience who were rubbing shoulders with each other and raised their arms, even made Sakaki Hararaku unable to regain his consciousness for a while. Is this the end? Is it a little too fast? To be honest, even though there are still some flaws in this song, the coordination is not perfect. But Sakaki Hararaku had already sunk in a little, and there was still some heat left in his body. He really wanted to keep playing. One song is completely unenjoyable. He looked at now Yoshihara, who was watching the battle from behind. She gave him a look. It means, if you have practiced other songs, that's up to you. But this is just a joke. They didn't know how long they had practiced this relatively simple song alone, and they didn't know how many times they had practiced it together. No more. Sakakibara could only smile bitterly at his senior. Ah, if it's gone, let's withdraw now. Yoshihara didn't seem to care very much. But senior, this. Sakakihara pointed at the passers-by who still wanted to hear. Then you can't repeat a song too many times. Ah, it seems, you don't need to continue. As soon as Yoshihara-senpai finished speaking, a group of blue policemen wearing hats and vests broke into the crowd. The attitude of the police was very unfriendly, and the topics around them were "Do you have a permit?" and "Do you know this will cause trouble for everyone?" But since it was Christmas Eve, the police didn't want to embarrass them too much and just asked them to pack up their things and leave. Most of the audience also knew that they would not be able to watch the performance next, and shook their heads in disappointment. Some people also came to ask what kind of band they were and if there was anywhere they could see the performance. Most are young men. Sakakibara guessed that they didn't want to listen to the music, but wanted to hook up with their pretty sister. Of course, the reality is that they are a small band with nothing, and their level is only good enough to play the song well. It would be a fantasy to have a resident singer or something. Asterisk. Snapped. Now Yoshihara suddenly pulled down the back door of the van, clapped her hands, turned around, and faced the 5 people in front. Well, she scratched her cheek with her fingers. What should I say? By the way, you, Sakaki Hararaku, play the bass so badly. The bass in this song is used to maintain the overall rhythm. Look what you are doing. And you, Nanamijiyo, the drum beats so fast. Juliuli, can he Ling keep up? The same goes for Juliuli and Ling. What are you doing? The band is a group. Since Ji Minjiu's drum playing is faster, you should also try to keep up. In that case, only the BPM, tempo speed, of the song will go up. Instead of being a complete mess like just now. Not to mention Higsu, he played by himself the whole time without any cooperation. Now Yoshihara spoke impatiently to everyone, and after that she nodded to herself. Yes, that's right, you are not cooperating at all. In silence, Sakakihara Suzu raised her hand. That. Senior. Huh? Say. Senior didn't say that because he wanted to put pressure on us, right? No. Well, Sakakibara is sure, Suzu is right. Ahem. Now Yoshihara also knew that she couldn't hold it anymore, so she coughed twice to cover up her embarrassment. Okay, you guys performed really well just now, but it was only for the rookie team, that's all. What I said was wrong just now. Although it may not be that serious for you, you still have some problems to some extent. Besides, the atmosphere on the street is still a little lacking. How can there be any fun in the underground stage? Oh, now Yoshihara suddenly sighed again. I originally planned to use this flash mob event to teach you a lesson, to let you know that the band is not a child's play event, and you can't come in with the mentality that you can give up halfway. But who knew that you guys have such a good musical background? It only takes a week to set up. You can play music that the audience feels comfortable listening to. So, senior, you just want to give us a showdown through the flash mob, Raku Sakakibara asked, holding Bess in his arms. That's it, but you performed so well that I don't even know how to train you to demonstrate my role as a guide. However, now Yoshihara changed the topic again. If you really want to perform on a low stage, I can help arrange the arrangements, but that stage, your level is not what you can make do now, and the songs are not you have to prepare at least 5 or 6 songs. Understood, practice more often, right? Okay, today is Christmas Eve. I didn't give you any gifts, and I stood outside with you for an hour. I hope you can really feel something inside during this ensemble. Let's go, pack up and go back. Asterisk. In this way, after several people followed their seniors back to the rented music room and moved all the instruments back, they were all exhausted. Everyone has no idea of going shopping for Christmas. They just want to go home quickly and wash up and go to bed. After returning home, Sakakibara soaked in the bathroom to relieve the pain of physical exhaustion. He still couldn't forget the feeling of standing behind and watching their backs tonight while singing the same rock song together. Their performance, their backs, the passion and cooperation that everyone put together in the same song. That feeling of fulfillment and hard work. It feels so fulfilling. Presumably Julie Yulai and Aling also have this kind of thing, right? After they finished, they all looked very happy. At least the smile on Jurili's face was an expression that Sakakibara Raku had never seen after she finished playing the piano alone. As long as we continue, everyone can grow in this band. The reconciliation between Julie Yulai and Chi Minjia was only a matter of time. Sakakibara looked up at the shrouded ceiling of the bathroom, thinking so firmly in his heart. Yes, the small band must be led to continue upward. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 245. Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day tomorrow. After painstakingly filling out the volunteer questionnaire distributed by the school, my first year of high school came to an end. Looking back on this year, Sakakibara can talk a lot. But he didn't have time to think about these useless things. After the first performance with the 4-person ensemble, the entire small band must follow the guidance of Yoshihara Senpai to pursue victory, train again and again, and become familiar with their respective roles again and again. Rhythm and instruments. In short, after these few days, Sakakibara thinks that this band has become a success. Chi Minjia and Julie Yulai also seem to get along very harmoniously in the team. On New Year's Eve, Raku Sakakibara was lying in the bedroom scrolling through his cell phone when a head suddenly popped out of the bed. Elder brother. Luli. To be honest, even though Raku Sakakibara was used to Mr. Kuruori getting into his bed, it would be strange not to be frightened when a head suddenly popped out from under the blanket at night. Why are you here? I didn't hear you open the door. The sound of. Brother, you are too focused on looking at your phone. Also, can't I come at night? Tianhai Julie Yulai's voice was quite small in the bed. Coupled with that perfect little face and the sky blue eyes that stared at her. Sakakibara Raku fully understands the meaning of the word cute. Of course. But Li Yulai has been practicing with everyone for a day today, so he must be very tired, right? Why don't you take more rest? Tianhai Julie Yulai did not answer his question directly, but raised her gaze, stared into his eyes in the dark night and said, recently, Lejun's thoughts have been entirely focused on the band. This is a fact that Sakakibara cannot argue with. He smiled and said, it's really my fault. Lejun is still smiling. It's better to smile, right? Tianhai Julie Yulai clenched his fist and hit him on the chest. The strength was almost non-existent. Rather than hitting someone, it was more like she was venting her complaints. Okay, okay, I know I was wrong. After 2 hammerings, Tianhai Yuli seemed to be even closer, and she took the initiative to lean in, trying her best to get as close to his chest under the blanket. The red cheeks were half covered by the quilt. As soon as she got so close, Sakakibara had no choice but to hug her and hold her in his arms. I found that Yuli especially likes to act coquettishly at night. You said I can act coquettishly to you as I please. Okay, okay, then please do it. Lejun said it seemed that he was reluctant for me to do this. I don't have any. Yes, and with this tone. Tianhai Yuli raised his face again and looked up at him from his arms. However, this movement of raising his face was caught by Sakaki Hararaku, and he quickly tapped the girl's forehead. Do not be angry. Tianhai Yuli was dumbfounded for a second, and soon became ashamed and happy. The hands gathered on his chest were fussing with the buttons of his pajamas with his fingers. I am not angry. Huh? Then why does Liuli's voice still sound a little dissatisfied? I just thought, are you trying to scare me away with this action? The implication was that she felt that the gesture of kissing her forehead was too light and had no sense of weight. Don't Liuli like this? Of course not, just what? Liuli, Liuli, Liuli. Before Tianhai Yuli could say anything, his face suddenly turned red, and he suddenly pulled the quilt to cover his head, and his whole body shrank into the quilt. For a long time after that, no matter how much Sakakibara shouted, she didn't respond. He couldn't help but laugh. Didn't he just want a mouth-to-mouth kiss? As for being so shy. But compared to the Juliuli who seemed very cautious when speaking outside, the current Juliuli was indeed more real. She always puts on airs outside and cannot be as relaxed as she is at home, so Sakakibara feels awkward when talking to her outside. Okay, if you don't respond, I'll continue looking at my phone. Up to you. That's what you said. Sure enough, Sakakihara picked up the phone, but not 5 minutes later, the girl's voice came from the bed again. Recently, you and Chi Minjiu have gotten so close. Are you jealous? Raku Sakakihara immediately put down his phone and asked. Voices continued to come from the quilt where no one could be seen. A little is wrong, a lot is right. Although I know you and her are discussing the band, I feel a little uncomfortable every time I see you talking. Although Liuli didn't show any discomfort outside, would she still be jealous because she was talking to Chi Minjiu? Listening to her voice getting softer and softer, and feeling the feeling of her poking his belly with her fingers under the quilt, Sakakihara felt that her cuteness had gone up a notch. A girl who is obviously so dignified turns out to be coquettish, jealous, and stingy. Okay, Liuli, don't you want to reconcile with Chi Minjiu? And I was just talking to her about the song, and didn't say anything more to her. I know, but... Okay, don't be jealous. Aren't I here now? I'm still holding you and talking. Still a little jealous. Then this is indeed my fault. How do Liuli want me to compensate you? Sakakihara continued to say to the covered head in front of him. I want you to like me, the voice on the bed muttered, a little dissatisfied and dull. Yes, Sakakibara said with a smile, and I already like you very much. It's not enough. Tianhai Yuli poked his head out again. Then what is enough? Go on a date, go to the movies. Sakakihara burst into laughter. Didn't I accompany you in the band? We were together every day. How can this be the same? Everyone is here, and I still have to maintain that appearance. Being alone with you is different. Isn't it tiring for Liuli to keep looking like that? Yes, there are some. Then why don't you try to let it go? I don't know, I always feel uncomfortable if I behave differently outside than before. This actually means that if you wear the mask for a long time, you will feel uncomfortable if you don't wear it. It's no wonder that Juliuli likes to be alone with her. She will feel very relaxed when she puts down her dignity and reserve like this. How is Lee Yuli's relationship with everyone lately? Tian Hai Julie Yuli's head, half of his face covered, turned slightly and whispered, I don't know what happened recently because of the band practice. I seem to have a better relationship with everyone. Where's the bell? Healing Chan is getting better too. She seemed a little afraid to talk to me before. It was Aling who did something sorry for you before, so it is reasonable for her to avoid you. Well, you can't blame Ling. She doesn't know Grandpa's character. And why are you hiding from me? Am I scary? She obviously knows how to tell me and explain the reason, so I won't blame her. Lu Li, you are just too kind. If it were Chi Minjiao, you would definitely be angry. Most likely, you will ignore Aling in the next 6 months. But I was at home at that time and couldn't talk to anyone. I was helping everyone make breakfast, but when everyone saw me, they would choose to avoid looking at me. Every time you are not at home, Lejun, I can only be alone. Sit in the room. Alas, it's true. Julie Yuli is obviously the one who talks best. But at home, no one was willing to communicate with her. She could only call herself into the room to play games and chat when she got home every day. I have wronged you, Julie Yuli. It doesn't matter, Tian Hai Julie Yuli said in a low voice, isn't it all in the past? In fact, I was very satisfied when my brother was willing to stand up and speak for me in front of my grandfather. Even if there is an emergency, Chi Minjiao is really happy. You have an engagement. Huh? What will happen? I will also make you take responsibility. After all, you said you will always like me, and I will always be good to you. Tian Hai Julie Yuli's words were quite weak, vaguely hinting at her uneasiness. Seeing her mood, Sakakihara couldn't help but hug her closer to his arms. Julie Yuli was quite cooperative and took the initiative to put her chin on his shoulder. Sakakihara stroked her smooth flaxen hair and soothed her uneasiness with his voice. Li Yuli, don't say stupid things every day. Lejun actually also likes Kyo, right? She and I look the same, and we can see each other's shadow in each other. Besides, she likes you so much and can do many things to you. I will like you more. Sakakihara Raku no longer wants to lie to Li Yuli, but I definitely like you more now. Only a little, Tian Hai Julie Yuli asked, slightly dissatisfied. A lot? Who wouldn't like a girlfriend who likes to cling to her and act coquettishly? Not to mention that she has a girlfriend of Julie Yuli's status, who is beautiful and caring, and will take the initiative to take care of herself when she is sick. If she is hungry, she is also willing to cook something for herself. If she was seriously ill and was hospitalized, would she lie beside her bed and wait for him to wake up? With random thoughts in his head, Sakakihara Raku didn't notice that Julie Yuli's mood had improved a lot. I feel like Lejun is a little slow. Retarded what? Tian Hai Juli's pulsating eyes reflected the profile of his face lying on the pillow. Normally I really want to stay with you for a little longer, but you never notice what I'm thinking. No way. I usually understand your meaning very well, okay. I usually see you talking to Chi Minjiao, and you suddenly come out and interject a few words, but you don't even understand what I mean. Who can understand this? By the way, Li Yuli is still jealous of Chi Minjiao. After all, Chi Minjiao is another me, but she is not me. She still wants to fight with me. Every time she chats with you for a long time, she will provoke me with her eyes. These two sisters. However, because they often need to perform together, the two of them seem to have gotten closer in life recently, and it is normal for them to still have tit-for-tat relationships emotionally. Julie Yuli was trying to slowly let go of her conflicts and began to regain the relationship she had with Chi Minjiao. This shows that the band is starting to work. What do Li Yuli think of the band? It's great. I can play songs with everyone. The feeling of cooperation is an atmosphere that can't be enjoyed by one person alone. Even my mother has never been very fond of pop music, and I have never had the opportunity to play this with Chi Minjia before. Aunt. Ah, I haven't heard from my aunt for a long time. The last time I brought Julie Yulai to me, she seemed very angry. I don't know now whether he has returned to the UK or continued filming in Japan. Anyway, I haven't been harassed for a long time. Tian Hai Julie Yulai said with a puffy face, didn't I agree not to talk about the band? Why do I keep thinking about the band? Sakakibara couldn't help but smile and said, I usually play games with you all the time. You see how much I take care of you. Chi Minjia doesn't get this kind of treatment. How can this be enough after playing games? After? You went to bed after that, Raku Sakakihara replied matter-of-factly, you have practiced musical instruments and played games all day, aren't you tired? Unexpectedly, this answer made Tian Hai Julie Yulai resentful again, and she buried her mouth in the pillow. So Lejun is a fool. Luli doesn't want me to sleep with you, right? No. I haven't done that yet, but I think it's too straightforward. Li men sometimes become very scary late at night. Lejun is not scary, Tian Hai Julie Yulai immediately replied. Besides, it's not like we've slept together before. After saying that, Tian Hai Julie Yulai quickly added. The girl's voice became smaller and smaller as she spoke. And his eyes were still secretly looking at Sakakihara Raku from time to time. Why are you looking at me secretly like that? It depends on you, idiot. She blushed and scolded her again. Sakakihara smiled. He really couldn't stand his girlfriend. If he wanted to sleep together, why didn't he just say it? Still shy. Ahem, then I suggest that we sleep together today. It's a bit cold today, and it feels good to hug each other. This is the truth. I use my girlfriend as a pillow when I sleep at night. Amamai Kuruori suddenly looked particularly happy, but after discovering that Sakakibara Raku was also laughing, he quickly put away his smile and said with a hint of dissatisfaction. Then, it's settled. After all, this is Lejun's request. As his girlfriend, I can't help but agree. Request? Li Yulai. You've become cunning. Where is it? Originally, it was Lejun's request. Then look at me and talk. No, I don't want it. Tian Hai Julie Yulai used the quilt to hide his head again, like a rabbit in a cave. Ruri Sakakihara forcefully opened the quilt, pulled with her, and tried his best to move his face towards her eyes. No, don't come over. Tian Hai Julie Yulai pushed him away with his hands, muttered something in a low voice. It was obviously Li Jun's request, and then quarreled with him for a while, and then it escalated into a quilt-pulling contest. In the end, he still laughed, very reluctantly, he pulled her into his arms. However, even when he was hugged, the girl seemed particularly restless, burying herself in his chest and twisting for a long time. Do not move. Just move. Why did you tickle my belly just now? Belly? Ah, speaking of it, Ruri's skin is really smooth, Sakakibara said deliberately. Abnormal as expected, Tian Hai Julie Yulai was shy. She reached out and pulled her thin pajamas to cover her exposed belly button under the quilt. Pervert. Well, come on, let me take a good look at your belly. Ha ha ha, don't, go away. Go away. Finally, when he got tired of playing, Amamai Kuruori let Sakakibara hug him and put his cheek against his chest, feeling the warmth of being hugged. I like it, Tian Hai Julie Yulai murmured with his eyes closed. What are Li Yulai secretly talking about again? I like being held by you. Is it? I also like you to touch my head and hair. Amamai Kuruori's plain and ordinary words made Sakakibara silent for a long time. He could hear that Kuruori could say these words with such peace of mind that she had put all her heart on herself at this time. To be honest, I also like it when you lie on my chest like this. Really? Of course, after all, it does feel good to be relied on like this. Then, do you want to kiss? Tianhai Yuli blushed and lowered her face. After she finished speaking, she even felt incredibly ashamed that she could say such a thing. Why does Ruri keep thinking about kissing? Sakakibara pushed her petite shoulders outward a little. Didn't you call me a pervert just now? After all, I haven't kissed you for a long time, and it must have been a joke. Even if you really want to touch me, just say it and I will be willing. What? I never expected that Julie Yuli, who is reserved and generous, would be so open-minded and would take the initiative to let a man touch her belly. Good. What's good? Sakaki Hararaku didn't hear clearly at all. I like it so much. It's so annoying. Sakakibara laughed. And this is just for you. Why would you let other people touch my belly? That place is not something you can touch casually. I know, Julie Yuli still wants to kiss now, right? Obviously it's Lejun who wants to kiss. Really? I suddenly felt a little sleepy. No. Sakaki Hara turned his face towards her again and said with a smile, then who wants to kiss now? Before. Why didn't I realize that Lejun could be so bad? I didn't realize that Li Yuli could be so cunning. Sakaki Hara reached out his hand to stop her waist again. How about? Tianhai Yuli also knew that it would be particularly embarrassing if the woman said this. But the feeling of having his arms crossed around her waist and his body pressed against hers was particularly comfortable. Kiss, just kiss. I want to kiss Lejun. Huh? Then what? Seeing that Sakakibara Raku had not responded yet, Amamikuruuri blushed again and quickly tapped his mouth with her soft cherry pink lips that were glowing with wet luster. Then he quickly took it back, only grabbing the skirt of his chest with his hands, showing a cute and coy look. Why are you in a daze? That's right, I just didn't expect Li Yuli to be so proactive. I just do this because I like you. Tianhai Yuli's eyes were full of shy little expectations, and there was also a hint of resentment that said, can't you understand what I want? Don't be shy, Li Yuli. Only then did Sakaki Hara begin to approach her with satisfaction. The tip of the nose is close to the tip of the nose, and the fragrant warmth of the beautiful girl's cheeks hits his nostrils. Shy. Definitely still. Sakakibara kissed him directly. The girl's little hands involuntarily grasped the skirt of Sakakibara's chest, and along with his movements, the grasp became tighter and tighter, becoming more and more delicate. Julie Yuli has always been passive, but this is not the case when it comes to kissing. She will still appear particularly weak in the first half, but once the kiss reaches the back, she will suddenly become very strong, and her momentum even overwhelms Sakakibara Raku, who takes the initiative to get closer. Sakaki Raku would usually choose to be too lazy to move at this time. Since he couldn't bite her anyway, he would just let her hold him and chew on him. Julie Yuli also likes to hold her breath, which makes Sakakibara inexplicably hold her breath with her when cooperating with her. Often the kiss is so intense that one forgets oneself and forgets to breathe, and only a current flows between the brain and back. The hand on the girl's thin waist will instinctively tighten and hug her waist tightly. The kiss lasted until the two of them could no longer hold their breath, and then they separated briefly. At this time, girls often have blushing cheeks, their chests rise and fall violently, and their mouths are filled with hot breath. Sakakibara opened his eyes and looked up at the girl above. In addition to the satisfied happiness, there was also a bit of shyness in her eyes. Tianhai Yuli pursed her thin pink lips and blushed. She was wearing a thin nightgown that exposed her shoulders. She had a curvy figure. Her flaxen hair hung slightly messily from her cheeks. Her cheeks were also extremely beautiful. She put her hands on both sides of Sakakibara's head, and her eyes couldn't help but look down along her white collarbone. Well, it was so soft that Sakakibara didn't dare to look at it. He was afraid that he would lose his self-control in an instant. After all, he already had enough reaction when they kissed just now. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. Let's go to the shrine to pay our respects. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 246. As the seagulls fly into the blue sky in the distance, the morning light begins to fall into the room, and the sun emerging from the horizon emits the first ray of light of the new year. The new year has officially begun. However, it seems to be no different from yesterday. Seagulls were squawking over Tokyo Bay, and the Tozei Line train bound for Nishi Shinjuku made a sound on the overpass track. If there is any difference, it would probably be that today's office workers also have a 3-day New Year's holiday. By the way, the window in this utility room is much higher, making the view less comfortable. Ha! Sakakibara yawned, stretched, looked away, and cast his gaze on his bed. Tianhaijuli Yulai, who slept with him last night, showed no signs of waking up at this time. She was lying on her side with her hands in front of her face, her long flaxen hair hanging loosely behind her, and she was sleeping in an extremely peaceful and gentle way. Yan is having sweet dreams. Lu Li, Lu Li. Sakakihara came to her, shook her shoulders, and tried to wake her up from her sleep. But she didn't seem to show any signs of waking up. She just said in an extremely lazy nasal voice, and then continued to sleep deeply. Subsequent awakenings also ended in failure. I didn't bother you last night. Sakakihara poked her cheek, and the lines between his fingers pressed into her fleshy face. When she let go, the skin would rebound following the movements of her fingertips. This fleshy and soft feeling was added to if you touch a ball of warmth on her cheek, your calm heart will melt like a marshmallow in hot water. Needless to say, this feeling was so comfortable. Coupled with her pleasing appearance, Sakakihara couldn't help but poke it a few more times, pinched it up, and carefully tried to pull it out. A Ling's face seems to be more fleshy, while Liulai's face seems to be more elastic. Sakakibara squeezed it and laughed to herself. If Liulai woke up and saw that he was playing with her face, wouldn't she be angry? The pads of his fingers slid down her cheeks until they touched her soft lips, which were more moist and elastic. The light rose-colored luster looks as sweet as red honey, making people want to kiss it. Forget it, I won't disturb your sleep. I'll make breakfast alone today. After pulling the quilt for Liulai, Sakakihara simply put on a coat and left the room. However, as soon as he opened the door, he bumped into Tianhaikaiminyu, who was wearing shark pajamas and twin tails. She seemed to have just finished using the bathroom and was about to return to the bedroom. Tianhaikaiminyu still has the same cold face that has not changed for 100 years. And this face was obviously sleeping on his bed just now, and it still had the same sweet sleeping face with the corners of the mouth slightly raised. This made Sakakihara Raku couldn't help but look at her more. Amami Nanamajetsu also noticed that Sakakibara Raku was observing him inexplicably. The two looked at each other in tacit understanding. Sakakibara smiled, while Nanami glanced towards the bedroom behind him. Good morning, July. Raku Sakakibara quickly stood in front of her, holding his hand on the doorframe, and said hello with a smile. Nanami noticed his movements and stopped looking, locking her eyes on Sakakibara Raku's face. My sister must be in there. Today's weather seems to be very good, the sun is shining. My sister must be in there. Speaking of which, are you going to visit a shrine today? Oh, I really don't know which shrine is better to go to. My sister must be in there. Do you have any good recommendations for July? I'm tired of going to Meiji Shrine and everything else. Tian Haikaiminyu directly stretched out her hand to twist the flesh on his waist and said expressionlessly, "Did you sleep comfortably with your sister at night?" Sakakibara kept smiling, "You won't believe me if I say I'm not feeling well, so I'd better admit it openly. I am self-aware, but do you know that I am in a very unhappy mood right now? I know, but the main reason why Julie Yulai came to me is because I'm jealous of you. I don't remember kissing you in front of my sister." Tian Haikaiminyu relaxed a lot. "It's not as simple as being jealous when it gets to that point. Forget it. This unfortunate thing happened to me on the first day of the new year." Tian Haikaiminyu glanced at his smiling face for the last time and took her hand back with an unhappy look. Although the flesh on the waist hurt from being pinched, it was Chi-Chi's pinch after all, and Sakakibara didn't take it seriously at all. On the contrary, what surprised Sakakibara Raku was that Amami Nanamajetsu did not continue to be jealous. "Aren't you angry in July?" Tian Haikaiminyu asked back, "Angry? What's the use of being angry? No matter how hard I force you, if my sister comes to your room at night, you will still take her in." Nanamajetsu's words surprised Sakakibara Raku. Attitude has changed. What are you surprised about? Being jealous is a terrible thing for a woman. Chi Minjaya has always been stingy and vengeful, and being jealous is even more terrifying. Something's wrong. According to the past, Chi Minjaya should have pulled me in front of Julie Yulai and kissed me in front of her. Oh? This is a good idea. Do you want to do it now? This is not a suggestion. Then why did you say it? You understand me? I don't know what you're talking about. Sakakibara did not continue to answer, but kept his eyes locked on Amami Nanamajetsu's face, and then began to wander around her. "Are you getting closer to Julie Yulai?" "Why? If it's just a guess, I have the right not to answer your question. As I said just now, if it were you a while ago, you would never let it go so easily if you caught me sleeping with Julie Yulai." Tian Haikaiminyu said contemptuously, "I think you are overthinking. It will not work if you try to embarrass your sister when you already know that you can't reject her. Anyway, as long as you don't take the initiative to find her, it will be fine. You're being tough again in July. This is a fact. Chi-Chu is tough talking. No matter how she explains it, she can't argue with the fact that her attitude is soft." While Sakakihara was happy, he also felt a little sad for Kyo. Because this means that she has taken the initiative to give in. "What happened?" Sakakibara asked. "What?" Tian Haikaiminyu asked back, putting her hands on her chest and turning her face away. "Kyo, you can't hide it from me. Can't I still see your changes?" My brother's emotional intelligence seems to have become much higher recently. Maybe it's because he's had too much contact with me recently? Tian Haikaiminyu was thinking about this, and knew that she had to give him a satisfactory answer before he could give up. "What do you want to hear?" Tian Haikaiminyu returned her gaze. "It's very simple. It's the reason why you softened your attitude. Didn't you ignore Julie Yulai some time ago? Even saying a word to her was too much." July. Tian Haikaiminyu couldn't stand him calling her that. "I don't know when my sister learned your shamelessness. Even though I have been saying bad things to her, she still pretends to be fine. And you, don't always scream like July or July. Shouting makes you feel too comfortable. It's so annoying. Also, I want to eat a sandwich today." "This is no problem, there are enough ingredients in the refrigerator." "That's it, I'll go back to the room." Clang. The door of Tian Haikaimingyu's bedroom was closed in sight. "Isn't this the same as saying nothing?" Sakakibara shook his head and came to the kitchen. While preparing breakfast, he recalled what Amami Nanamajetsu had just said to him. Chi-Chi has indeed been sarcastic to Liulai recently. For example, "Sister, can you not talk? I don't want to hear it, don't come to me, you are annoying, sister, You don't have to talk if you can't find a topic. These words sounded very hurtful, but Juliuli acted like a normal person after hearing them, and still faced Chi Minjio with a peaceful attitude. Sakakibara is sure that Nanamijiyo is definitely not the kind of person who takes pleasure in humiliating others. Her cold words are just a tool to alienate others from her. At the same time, Chi Minjio was absolutely aware of Juliuli's psychological condition that she couldn't stand the blow of words. After understanding the fact that even though her sister felt very uncomfortable, she still wanted to get close to her, Chi Minjio's attitude towards her changed slightly. Although it is not clear what happened between the two, it is definitely a good thing for Sakakihara Raku. He could already feel that the conflict between the two sisters had faded a lot. After the relationship between the two officially warms up, Juliuli should be able to accept what she said if it takes a longer time, right? Turning off the stove, melting a small piece of butter on the pan, while frying the slices of bread, Sakakihara noticed the words that suddenly popped up in his sight. Musuki. Today is January 1st, New Year's Day. This also means that the system has refreshed the pass mission again. To be honest, because the family is in a state where there is no shortage of money, and there are always some props and useless skills that are worth tens of billions and tens of billions, he usually doesn't want to use this stuff at all. For example, Russian tank care skills L.5, crab eating leave 5, nail carving leave 5, and balloon blowing leave 5. Although it is originally a daily thing, what does he want this thing to do? Can a level 5 blower blow up the balloon in one go? If he hadn't opened a lucky bag a while ago and got an intelligence attribute point worth 10 million points, he would have almost forgotten that he still had this thing. Just click on the panel. Name, Raku Sakakibara. Points, 341,321. Money, 18.64 million yen. Skills, Archery LV4, Master, Writing LV3, Proficient, Cooking LV5, Legendary, Plumbing Repairman LV4, Master, Staying Up Late LV3, Proficient, Alperon Family Swordsmanship LV1, Beginner, Alperon Family Taijutsu LV1, Entry Level. Note, skill levels are divided into 5 levels: Entry, Proficient, Mastery, Master and Legendary. Charm, 8, add 1. Intelligence, 8. Stamina, 8, add 1. Items held, Good and Evil Divination Card Box, purple, Mechanical Pencil Refill, white, Insect Eaten Leaves, white, Alperon's Ring, orange, Dream Corridor, purple, Brave Man's Baseball Bat, green. That's pretty much it. There are also Tenachi Master and Appetizer Master attached under Kyoto and Cuisine respectively. Points and money are things that I have accumulated from ordinary life and opening lucky bags without taking care of them at all. I didn't expect that I have saved so much now. As for why it didn't show on the panel that he learned base, Sakakibara guessed that the panel only displays the attributes assigned by the system. If it were divided according to the skills of the system, wouldn't even sleeping and going to the toilet be labeled with levels? Sakakihara casually dialed 1.5 million to open this month's 3-person Hanafuda, and continued to fry the bread slices on the pan. Speaking of which, with legendary level cooking, as long as you work hard, you will be unstoppable in this world, right? If I were to show my skills in some cooking competition now, wouldn't I be respected as a cooking fairy? Add lettuce, bacon, and cheese, and skillfully press these things onto the pot with a spatula, controlling the temperature of the ingredients to a level with the best taste. The sandwiches tea and hikiming you needs are ready. Then carefully make a presentation. Perfect. It can only be described as perfect. Musuki Limited Time Mission. Raku Sakakihara suddenly saw a slight flicker of light on the panel, thinking that this month's mission came out so early. Current situation: as a small band that has only been established for 2 weeks, your strength still needs to be proven, and performing on stage must be the best proof. Goal 1, make a new song for the band. Period, 4 weeks. Reward, bass skill upgraded to LV4, Master. Goal 2, let the new song shine on the stage and submit it to the internet to gain at least 1 million views, buying views is strictly prohibited. Supplementary reward, 50 million yen, finance level 4, Master. Sakakibara held his chin and thought. If it was beyond his expectation that bass could be upgraded to the master level, then wouldn't master level finance be a skill specifically designed to pave the way for his future? If there are no accidents, in the eyes of the old man, he is now the grandson-in-law of the Tianhai family. In the future, with the help of his uncle, there is a high probability that he will inherit the Tianhai family's trillion-dollar industry. Finance and management are indispensable needs. Once he acquires master-level financial knowledge, he can show off his skills in helping Chi Minjiao's foundation invest, and he can rest more during his college years. From this point of view, this month's time-limited task is something that must be completed. The benefits are too great. Raku Sakakihara is determined and ready to do whatever it takes to create a song that can receive millions of plays within these 4 weeks. The determination is there, but how to do it is still hard to figure out. If you ask him to write lyrics, he will be able to do it, but if it is a pop music song, it will be too difficult for him. You must know that there are specialties in the art industry. Happy? Huh? Yuki, you're awake, wait a minute. That's Chi Minjiao's sandwich. Hearing the voice of restraint, Amami no Yuki raised her eyes while biting her sandwich, looking blankly at Sakakibara Raku's face with a forced smile. Forget it, just eat it, just don't let Chi Minjiao see it. I'll make another one for her. Hearing this, Tianhai's Higsu lowered her slightly phoenix eyes and chewed Chi Minjiao's sandwich slowly. Happy? What's wrong? Sakakihara turned around and was about to open the refrigerator and get the ingredients again. I have fans. It's normal. Sakakibara took a few slices of bread and used a spoon to add a little butter. The plastic bag made a sound when it was touched. As long as the uploaded video has a certain quality, there will still be a few fans watching your video. So, how many fans do you have now? 10,000. 10,000. Raku Sakakihara's hand holding the bread and butter stopped. He turned back to look at Amami Nazuki's little face and said in surprise, wait a minute, didn't you only have less than 70 followers 2 weeks ago? Why did it suddenly increase so much? Someone watched it? That video of Lonely Rock? Tianhai's Higsu nodded. Raku Sakakihara suddenly remembered the mission of playing millions. How many views did that video get? 150,000,000. There are so many. But wait, this does not mean that Higsu can make a song with millions of views. You must know that this is still a copy of the new drama Lonely Rock, which has millions of views. What about the song you made that I helped you renovate before? Tianhai's Higsu ate the sandwich and was quiet for a while. After swallowing the food, she replied in a soft voice. 800,000. Hearing this, Sakakihara Raku was determined. Ji Shui is fully capable of writing music of sufficient quality. Yuki, do you have any plans to write new songs recently? No. Because you just wrote it recently. This is difficult to handle. Higsu is the kind of person who has no motivation to do anything before the specified time, and then stares at the airplane clouds in the sky in a daze. Forcing her. Sakakihara Raku couldn't do such a thing. Since request and coercion are useless, then there is only one trick left. Then if I write another song and it comes out, there will be countless fried ice creams to eat. Tianhai's Higsu raised her shining eyes, and even stopped eating the sandwich. She was so quiet that she seemed to blend into the air around her. Real. Seeing her like this, Sakakibara smiled lightly. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 247. Hai Shrine is a shrine located in Nagata Town, Chiyoda District. The group of people walked up the mountain along the West Sand Road, preparing to go to the shrine to complete this year's New Year's greetings. His mother and uncle, dressed in everyday clothes, led the way, while Sakakibara Rakuzo walked behind with his 3 younger sisters and a sister-in-law. Compared with the traditional and antique shrines, Hai Shrine is located in Chiyoda and is surrounded by various modern buildings, so the style of its periphery does not look uniform. This caused Raku Sakakibara to see the escalator when climbing the stairs. I thought this was some kind of modern assembly temple. But modern shrines use QR codes to collect incense payments, and you can also pay with Union Pay. He is truly a monk who keeps pace with the times. Speaking of which, why do we have to come to this shrine to worship? Because it's very close to Tianhai's house. Tianhai Yuli replied as he walked up the stairs, there is indeed this reason, but the more important reason is that I used to come here every year and it has become a habit. You and Nanami Mingzuki came here every year to worship, Raku Sakakibara asked curiously. Because it is the new year, there are many more people visiting this shrine than usual. The further up the mountain you go, the more Sakakibara Raku's impression of this shrine becomes that it resembles an antique shrine. There are shrine buildings with traces of time, green trees surrounding them, and countless red shrine flags being blown along the shrine. Many tourists were smiling while walking, exaggerating the New Year atmosphere. There are dozens of flaming red torii gates lined up along the stairs, like a corridor. Looking up, you can only see a little light from the highest point. This place looks quite spectacular, but I always feel like I've seen it somewhere before. Raku Sakakihara stood at the foot of the bluestone steps and pondered. Brother, you're stupid. Of course it's Senbon Tori Suzu. Sakakibara ate the rice balls she bought on the road. Is that place famous? Compared to Sakakihara Raku's doubts, Sakakihara Suzu looked at him with an extremely suspicious look, as if to say, how can you not know this? Tianhai Yuli opened his mouth to explain at this time. The bell refers to the 1,000 torii gates of Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine. Tens of thousands of torii gates stretch from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain, forming a corridor like a corridor. Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine in Kyoto should be one of the most famous shrines. 1. Brother doesn't know. 10,000 torii gates. Well, there are really so many. I really don't know, I haven't even been to Kyoto. After chatting all the way, we came to the gate of Hai Shrine blessed with red lacquer and gold paint. There were obviously more people here. The first thing most people do when they come here is to throw a coin into the money box, then put their hands together and pray to the gods for their New Year's wishes. Washing hands, paying homage, and praying are roughly the process. There is nothing worth talking about these things. Besides, the wishes of several sisters are more hidden than the others. Sakakibara Raku cannot ask questions at all. Only Konoyuki can speak out her wishes casually. Want to eat more lots of fried ice cream. How wonderful. Simple and unpretentious. After the visit, you can draw a fortune lottery for free. I lined up to draw the lottery. When I got the number, I went to the wooden box lined up a few rows aside and took out the signature that I had already written. What's so exciting about this? Aren't the lottery signs in the shrine all good luck? Suzu Sakakihara said without much interest. Even though she said that, she couldn't help but be curious when she saw the fortune bar that Sakakibara pulled out. Brother, which lottery did you draw? The second lot, Sakakibara replied. You got the second lottery when you came up? So far ahead? Brother, hurry up, take it out and see if it's good. Aren't you not interested? I'm curious. At the urging of his sister, Sakakihara Raku came to the wooden box, took out the small note inside, and took a look. Ah, it's Zyuji, not bad. Let me see, Sakakihara Suzu pulled his arm. Here, a poem. Sakakihara showed her the unfolded paper. The moon is obscured by floating clouds, and I'm in a coma at the beginning of my career. Fortunately, I'm begging for God's blessing, so why worry about it? Sakakihara Suzu's brows were wrinkled and loose. She found that she couldn't understand it at all. Why is it in Chinese? It's a poem. Isn't the Chinese very normal? What do you mean? Let me see. Literally, it means that the light is blocked. You have made up your mind to do something, but you are still dizzy. Sakakihara read it through and found that the signature was quite accurate. It fits my situation very well some time ago. But he was a little confused, so he took the initiative to ask Chi Minjio for help. That's not how you understand the signature. You have to analyze it sentence by sentence. The first sentence means that you have a strong desire, but as of now, it seems that you can't achieve it. The second sentence means that you have a goal, but you still lack determination. The third sentence means that as long as you work hard for someone, happiness will eventually come. The fourth sentence means that something happy seems to happen to you. According to this good thing, it doesn't matter if you don't worry about the future. Overall, it's a little good luck. Sakakihara frowned after hearing this. It seems that I really got it right. Every one of them is correct. Chi Minjio, can you still undo the signature? Aren't there just a few signatures? You can find out by looking more online. Emotions are not signed on the spot. It's just something Chi Minjio saw somewhere before and wrote down. Sakakibara Suzu ran over with the signature. Mine, Chi Minjio, look at mine, the 45th lottery, it's lucky. If you want to be cheerful and show off, your horse will lead you to your future. If you encounter arrows in the clouds, orchids will appear all over the road. Tian Haikimingyu took the note and recited it again, as if searching for memory, and then explained calmly, the first sentence means that you have been trusted and gained fame, through which you can accumulate wealth. The second sentence is it says that someone will be your guide in life. The third sentence means that you will get lucky by chance. The fourth sentence means that you will be surrounded by good people, your reputation will be known in the world, and you will become happy. I quite agree with the first three sentences. But I don't like the last sentence. Tian Haikimingyu saw her thoughts. Does it mean that your rabbit nest is out of business? Sakakihara Suzu didn't want to talk about this with her, so she crossed her arms and turned away from her face. By the way, Zhigzhu, have you smoked? No. Then go and take a lick. When you get it, let Chi Minjio untie it for you and see if it's accurate. Sister Chan, do you think your sister is Wikipedia? Anyway, you know a little bit about everything. If not, who would you ask? Do you admit that I am your sister? No. Compared to the lively exchanges between several people, Sakakihara Raku found that Tian Haiju really was always alone, looking very lonely. She felt like she wanted to talk to a few people, but was too embarrassed to get involved. Even if I wasn't that familiar with Aling before, I still had Chi Minjio to communicate with her. Ruri Sakakibara walked over and woke her up. Tian Haiju really came back to her senses, and she smiled at Sakakibara Raku. To Sakakihara Raku, this was a forced smile on her part, which made her look very lonely. With her like this, Sakakibara couldn't help but take the initiative to extend his hand to her. Tian Haijuli Yulai also observed the concern he took the initiative to express to her, and also tried to respond to his actions. The warmth transmitted from her hands gave her a little warmth that she could hold tightly. What are Li Yulai thinking at this time? I just saw you staring at the crowd in a daze. Brother, do you want to hear the truth? Certainly. There was a flash of brilliance in Tian Haijuli Yulai's indifferent smile. Rather than saying it was a smile, it was more of an expression caused by confusion and loneliness. As my brother knows, Our parents have been very busy since we were young and basically have no time to take care of us. Chi Minjio and I have always seemed to be abandoned by our family. The family also felt that our father had a falling out with them. We don't care. After Chi Minjio returned to Tokyo from her brother's hometown, I found that she was different from before. The feeling always made me feel that she was alone and couldn't find anything. At that time, I didn't know that Chi Minjio was thinking about you, brother. So for this reason, I wanted to be my sister, try to become strong, and try to become able to take care of Chi Minjio, and therefore I have a gentle and generous image, and everyone likes me like this. Now that I think about it, I am actually pretending to be strong, so that everyone likes the false me. Many times I think, what if I take off the mask, will people still like me? My mother answered this question of mine just before, and everyone was disgusted with it. So I feel that I have always been alone. No one can share my sadness, no one can share my troubles, and no one can give me a place to relax and rest. I've always been alone, Tianhai Juli Yulai said calmly, lowering his face. This made Sakakibara, who felt lonely from her, couldn't help but hold her hand distressedly, so that she could feel a little bit like she could rely on herself. Juli Yulai was very afraid of being alienated, and also lacked someone she could rely on. This is what Sakaki Hararaku concluded from what she just said. This made Sakakibara, who wanted to take care of her mood, move closer to her, hold her hand, and said softly, "It's okay, Juli Yulai, I'm here now." Amamai Jurulai raised his eyebrows and saw Sakakibara Raku's eyes staring at him. His own appearance was reflected in his eyes. He held his own hand, as if to make himself feel at ease, and held it tighter. Tianhai Juli Yulai could really feel the sense of security from him that he could take care of himself. The kind of warmth that can hold you at any time and be willing to comfort yourself softly. As if to confirm what he said to her, Tianhai Juli Yulai couldn't help but interlock with his fingers. While staring at him, she suddenly felt an urge to hug him. The other party seemed to be aware of his own mood, and soon took the initiative to hug him. Such a real hug, the warmth of being noticed all over the body, made Tianhai Juli Yulai feel at a loss when she was suddenly hugged, and at the same time, there was a rush of heat in her heart. A warm, affectionate emotion. Tianhai Juli Yulai didn't care whether there were tourists around observing the two of them, she responded to his hug and closed her eyes. Hugging her so tightly, for a moment, Tianhai Juli Yulai's eyes even felt a little touched. Okay, Li Yulai, don't be afraid of being alone. If you don't have anyone to talk to you, just tell me. The more gently he spoke, the more like the emotion in Tianhai Juli Yulai's heart became uncontrollable. Really like you? Yeah, I know. Sakakibara Raku found the two of them together with a Suzuki on the other side. Tianhai Kaimingyu glanced at him. He definitely saw himself and Juli Yulai hugging each other. But he didn't care and just continued to comfort Juli Yulai. Luli, today is the first day of the new year, be happy, okay? Hearing what he said, Tianhai Juli Yulai also knew that he should control his emotions. She let him go, and although the effect of her words was not immediate, there was a slight improvement. How about I take you to ask for a signature? Then ask Chi Minjio to help you figure it out. Aren't you two in a better relationship recently? She shouldn't say those distasteful words to you. Tianhai Juli Yulai is now like a weak little girl, completely convinced and obeying what he said. Li Yulai drew the 48th lottery, which was also a lucky draw. Sakaki Hararaku brought Amamai Kuruuri to Amamai Nanamai and asked her to help answer the question. Zhigzhu and Aling ran to the side to buy food again. After Tianhai Kaimingyu finished answering her normal questions, she focused on her sister's face that was exactly the same as hers. It seems like my sister has been hurt a lot by me recently. Tianhai Juli Yulai's mood had completely improved at this time, and she replied, I understand why Chi Minjiao is so distant from me and said those words, and I didn't blame you. Those actions are on the contrary, they should be. Why don't I understand my sister? But my sister needs to know that we can't leave any room for feelings. I see. So, what does sister want to do? I'll listen. Sakaki Hararaku was on the sidelines as a bystander, and he could really tell that the relationship between the two sisters had softened a lot. This is partly due to the fact that the band brings the two of them together every day. After all, Chi Minjiao disliked Julie Yulai every day, and Julie Yulai didn't care again and again. This made Chi Minjiao unable to bear to treat her sister like that. The twin sisters just stared at each other's faces. Tianhai Julie Yulai's pupils shrank when he heard that his sister was actually willing to listen to him. She calmed down her emotions again and made her tone as normal as possible. There is no room for emotion. But we don't actually have to bet everything in life on it. Feelings are feelings and life is life. We can start to try to treat these emotions separately. Sister, are you sure it's okay? Tianhai Kaimingyu looked indifferent. You know, when I saw you and your brother hugging each other just now, I felt so panicked. Didn't my brother often go to Chi Minjiao to ask you about the band? You can ask me even if you ask me, but I will feel uncomfortable when you see it. I am the same, Chi Minjiao. Tianhai Kaimingyu closed her eyes and seemed to be thinking about something seriously. Sister, what do you want to say is that we are equal now? Because we are equal, we can get along with each other on a certain level. Simply put, yes. Sister is very smart, so she should know that we are not equal yet. After a while, Tianhai Kaimingyu took the initiative and sighed, let's do this. I want my sister to agree to a condition. If I agree, I will agree to try to get along with my sister in this way. Tianhai Julie Yulai didn't speak, but in his heart he couldn't help but want to ask Chi Minjiao if he could really reconcile with himself. In Sakakibara's opinion, she should have acquiesced, or guessed the request Na Nemingyu was going to make. Tianhai Kaimingyu continued, that is, I want my sister to recognize that I have the right to pursue, and that my brother can seriously respond to my actions, instead of being like a mouse now, and being despised by my brother no matter what I do. Sakaki Hararaku really feels that his emotional intelligence has become higher. He could actually immediately understand Chi Minjiao's purpose of doing this. Chi Minjiao's doing this is actually paving the way for a certain possibility in the future. This even made Sakaki Hararaku couldn't help but guess, can she really do it? Can you really let go of your pride and choose to live in peace with Julie Yulai? I can agree. Tianhai Julie Yulai knew what Chi Minjiao wanted. What Chi Minjiao just said was just a euphemism. In layman's terms, she just gave up her identity as her girlfriend, and the two of them competed as equals. At the same time, this condition is not completely equivalent to giving up your girlfriend's status. Because this also takes into account Sakakibara Raku's feelings during the period. After all, feelings are not a child's play. Can Julie Yulai's girlfriend's status be something she just wants to give up? What Tianhai Kaimingyu wants is actually the right to act lawfully in front of her sister. For Julie Yulai, this was an acceptable condition. But for you Chi Minjiao, this won't have much effect, right? The reason why Amamai Kuruori said this was because of the identity of Sakakibara Raku's boyfriend. As long as he is still her boyfriend, he will definitely choose to actively avoid Chi Minjiao. Chi Minjiao still can't get any benefits. This is not your concern, sister. You might as well think about how to use your own charm to keep the person you like. Tianhai Kaimingyu suddenly stopped talking. She probably thought that if she continued talking like this, she would have another quarrel with her sister, so she simply ended the topic. This is for sister Tianhai. Chi Minjiao took out something from her pocket. What's this? New Year's card, with my New Year's wishes for my sister written on it. Tianhai Julie Yulai took the big red card and remained silent for a long time. After a long time, I raised my head again and faced the 7 bright moons in the sky and sea. Chi Minjio, have you already prepared? After all, a sister is a sister, and I still have to have New Year's cards. Isn't my sister not prepared for me? I didn't think you wanted to talk to me, so I left it at home. Then it's ready. Amamai Nanamai took out another one and handed it to Sakakibara Raku. It's for you. I have it too. You are an elder brother, of course you have it. This is a New Year's greeting from my sister. Oh, thank you. It's embarrassing to say that Sakakibara Raku didn't even remember that there was such a thing as a New Year's card. Sakakibara opened it and took a look. It seemed that there were blessings carefully written by Nanamai Minjio. The handwriting was quite beautiful and neat. There were also some 10,000 yen bills sealed. Of course, they are not short of money, and these 10,000 yen bills are just a symbol of their sincerity. He suddenly froze. Wait a minute, what should I do if I am the brother but I have not prepared any New Year greetings for my sisters? Brother, didn't you prepare greeting cards and red envelopes for everyone? Tian Haikaiminyu deliberately blocked her mouth, and spoke indifferently, teasing words like a little devil. Sakakibara glanced at him, hesitated for a while, and touched his nose. Well, of course I'm ready for this. I plan to go home at night and send it off when everyone is together, haha. Then I'm really looking forward to it. Tian Haikaiminyu saw through it at a glance. Haha, I promise I will write it to your satisfaction. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 248. Chapter 248. I don't know why, but Sakakibara Raku has no impression of New Year's red envelopes. It's probably been around for more than 10 years, right? Needless to say, in my previous life, I didn't have a few since I was a child. In this life, because my father ran away and my family was poor, except for my mother who occasionally squeezed out some spare money to raise a brother and sister, most of the time I was empty-handed. Therefore, when he calmed down and saw the handwritten blessing card and the red envelope enclosed in it from Tian Haikaiminyu, he felt an indescribable emotion in his heart. Regards, brother. It was the evening of December 31st, 2022, and although the cold air on New Year's Eve was much better than in the past, I could still feel a bit of a pinprick of cold when I took out a pen and paper. For me, writing is not a very strenuous task, but I feel somewhat embarrassed at this time of year. Presumably my brother will notice it more when he washes the vegetables every night, right? It is normal to experience blistering and pain in your fingers during regular guitar and bass practice. This is medically known as blisters and chronic strain. Although it is not a serious disease, it is an inflammation that cannot be ignored in serious cases. Touching less cold water and reducing the intensity of practice is what you should do now. Hard work is important, but more important is a heart that will always take care of yourself. After my sister and I moved out of our previous home, we were taken care of by you many times. Whether it was breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you would often ask for our opinions and try your best to make dishes that suit our liking. Due to my own feelings, it is difficult to say thank you to my brother in person for your care and concern for us during this year. But in this greeting card, in the cold words written with a pen, I think it is still necessary for me to say thank you and New Year blessings to you, brother. Happy New Year, brother. Thank you for being by my side for a year, and I'll go out of my way to say thank you for that. In addition to the money in the greeting card, I have placed the New Year's gift between the books on the top of your bookshelf, brother. Please remember to go back and check. July, You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 249. After confirming that the style of the song created this time was J-pop, Tian Haikimingyu began to carefully study and analyze the hot songs on the recent charts. To be honest, she had little interest in pop music. Jazz that is full of leisurely flavor or Celtic folk-style music that makes people feel the freshness of the forest when listening to it are the things that can calm her down. But her analysis of hit tunes in recent days has not been without results. She found that the music on recent charts were dominated by pop ballads, electronics, ballads, folk, and alternative rock. They all have a very rhythmic melody, and incorporate some unique styles of Japanese traditional elements, and there is also a mixing technique that mixes multiple musical elements together. So, how to change it and successfully create your own music? Tian Haikimingyu decided to continue searching for answers online. After being immersed at home for several days and writing dozens of analyses, she finally discovered some key points. That is to add some niche instruments or a particularly eye-catching sound to a rock song with a modern flavor that the public has rarely heard. That is the collision of modernity and classics. Use a pop intro to set it off, and then bring out the full explosive power of that instrument at the climax. This kind of music can invigorate people's spirits. Explained from the perspective of the human body, this kind of turning stimulus causes the brain to secrete more dopamine, thereby achieving a pleasant emotion. The analysis is in place. Follow the steps and then you should start composing the music. What is a better choice for this niche instrument? Piano, violin, and orchestral instruments seem to be able to do this. But what it is exactly needs more discussion, and the band's distribution of instruments also needs to be changed. Haikimingyu put down the pen in his hand at the desk in his bedroom, took off his gold-rimmed glasses, came to the window and looked at the Tokyo harbor shrouded in winter, relaxing. Just standing by the window and looking out for a moment, she didn't know why the shadow of Sakaki Hararaku appeared in her mind again. Regarding this brother and boyfriend who is 2 years older than her, Tian Haikimingyu senses that he has changed a lot recently. Become more decision-making and action-oriented. The handling of band affairs also makes everyone feel that he is the leader, and everyone can complete certain things under his will. To be honest, as Tian Haikimingyu, she has never heard any instructions since she was a child. She must complete certain things and achieve certain goals in accordance with other people's requirements. Even if someone asks her to do something for her, as long as she is not interested, she will choose to ignore it, let alone try hard to complete something she doesn't like that much. It's out of the question. But why do I still want to continue doing it? I want him to be happy, I want him to care about the things I do for him, I want him to help me complete everything smoothly. At the same time, I also want him to become more independent and feel more like an elder brother. Just like when he was a child, he took himself running and took himself to see new things that he had never encountered before. Tian Haikimingyu thought so in her heart. I don't know since when did I become so melancholy when thinking about problems by myself? Shouldn't I show my naughty side to the outside world instead of my completely cold side? With these complicated thoughts in her mind, Tian Haikimingyu walked out of the bedroom and saw Tian Haijuli trying to bake snacks in the living room. Tian Haijuli wore an apron and was alone in the open kitchen while scrolling through her mobile phone and waiting for cookies to be baked. She saw her twin sister coming out of the corridor and smiled at her. Before, I had agreed to ease the relationship with my sister, so I should try to talk to her calmly. Sister, have you started preparing snacks so early? Yes, Tian Haijuli put away her phone and replied seriously, if we just go to training in the afternoon without some snacks, everyone will be demotivated, especially Suzu-chan and Auntie. The air was silent for a while. Awkward. The two sisters have discovered that they are not as full of endless topics as they used to be. The face-to-face now is more like two strangers who have just met. That. What? Can you come and help my sister in July? I'm still baking egg tarts, and I've just started making cookies. Elder sister. Huh, Tianhai Julie Yulai could see that Tianhai Kaimingyu was a little confused. According to the past, shouldn't sister just ask Chi Chi to help you? Just say, come here and help prepare the ingredients. Ah, well, that's true. Tianhai Julie Yulai didn't realize that Chi Minjiao would suddenly say this. Then Chi Chi, come and help my sister prepare the ingredients. Add the butter and sugar to the bowl, and then stir. Just beat the instrument until it turns white. Tianhai Kaimingyu walked into the kitchen and started following the steps Tianhai Julie Yulai said. Compared with Tianhai Kaimingyu's ordinary normal operations, Tianhai Julie Yulai often visited his twin sister when preparing other materials. Identical faces, identical eyebrows and noses, and the same details down to the length of the eyebrows, the thickness of the lips, and the outline of the ears. Looking at her like this, her mood seemed to calm down a lot. From a very young age, Tianhai Julie Yulai could feel an inexplicable affinity with her. Why is my sister always peeking at me? Tianhai Julie Yulai quickly looked away. I'm observing whether the method of beating butter is correct. Tianhai Chi Minjiao knew that this was her sister trying to avoid the fact that she was looking at her. Obviously my sister's mixing skills are not as good as mine, yet she still asked me to teach her before. Tianhai Julie Yulai couldn't help but think of the past of his dark cooking, and when Chi Minjiao said this, he blushed and said, that was all a long time ago. Sister, I think you want to say that your cooking skills have improved by leaps and bounds. Yeah, you can say that. Then my sister didn't even look at who was your test subject. How many of the weird cookies and weird dishes I ate in July? When mentioning this, Tianhai Julie Yulai became even more embarrassed. There is nothing we can do about it. I couldn't find anyone at home to help me taste the food, and Aling ignored me at all during that time. So my sister is here to harm her twin sister? No way. Also, disaster or something like that is too much, but I'm just asking you to help me taste what I made. But sister, Takio, those things are more like torture tools than cooking. That's too much. Originally, at the beginning of that period, my sister's level dropped a lot because she was always distracted. Because I'm thinking about how to ask for forgiveness. This sentence can be said to be a pun. This is what Tianhai Julie Yulai meant, and Tianhai Kaimingyu also heard what her sister meant. After such a simple chat for a while, both of them clearly felt that the atmosphere between them had relaxed a lot. Sister, the butter is ready. Tianhai Julie Yulai looked over and said, then you can add the eggs and then stir. Let me do this step. Chi Minjiao, you can rest for a while. Strangeness. What's weird? Sister can actually be so considerate to my sister. Haven't I always been like this? No, sister, you will say to me with a sister's attitude for a while, Chi Minjiao, you see you sit at home every day and don't even know how to exercise. You definitely don't have much strength, so I leave this task to you. Come on, please move around. Tianhai Kaimingyu imitated Tianhai Julie Yulai's tone seriously, because her voice was very similar to Julie Yulai's, so the imitation was perfect. No way. Tianhai Julie Yulai laughed when he saw her imitating him. It seems that my sister has forgotten. Sure enough, bad people will selectively forget the bad things they have done. But I still remember it. Then Chi Minjiao, what were you thinking when you heard what I said? Tianhai Julie Yulai asked again with a smile, staring at the eggs and butter stirring in his hand, and his movements became much brisker. You're only 5 minutes older than me, why do you always act like an older sister? Tianhai Kaimingyu said the words of complaint in a calm tone. She's also a sister in 5 minutes, Tianhai Julie Yulai argued with reason. Tianhai Kaimingyu shook her head. Actually, according to the rules of twin birth, the one born later is the elder sister. In other words, I am the elder sister who should be your older sister. Speaking of which, the two of them had always argued over who was the sister. No one obeys anyone. After chatting for a while, Tianhai Julie Yulai clearly felt that the relationship between him and Chi Minjiao was getting closer. She began to be willing to take the initiative to talk to herself, tell interesting stories from the past, and make some jokes that would embarrass herself a little. Tianhaijuli Yulai felt happy. Chi Minjiao, do you still remember what happened when you were a child? How small? Between 1 and 2 years old. Sister, remember. I can't remember exactly, but there was a vague feeling that was very strange. I can't describe what it was. But I did listen to my father talk about our interactions when we were children when he was smoking on the balcony. What is it, Tian Haikiming, you really didn't know about this? Didn't we always lie in the same crib to sleep in the beginning? Dad always said that we were very harmonious when we stayed together. We didn't cry or make trouble. We often lay together and hugged each other to sleep. If we wake up, they will also get into moods when they find out who is missing. If one of them laughs, the other one will laugh too. You can understand what the other person means with just one look. Tian Haikiming Yu didn't know why, but when she heard her sister say this, she felt particularly harmonious in her heart. Tian Haijuli Yulai continued, of course, it will not always be harmonious. Because we were taken care of by a wet nurse at the beginning, and what we drank was not breast milk but milk powder. Every time the wet nurse gave us a bottle, Chi Minjiao, you always have to take 2. After drinking 1 bottle, it is not enough. You have to drink 3/4 of the other bottle before handing it to me. During this period, I kept watching you drink. This may be why my sister is not as smart as me. Really? But aren't we all about the same grades? Tian Haijuli Yulai was a little dissatisfied with her sister saying that she was not as smart as her. Smartness doesn't always show up in grades. How can I say that my sister is always a little dull? She used to follow me, and even though I saw her, she would hide behind her, assuming that I didn't see her. Chi Minjiao, aren't you always stupid? Do I have one? Tian Haikiming Yu asked. Why not? I sit in a daze holding a book and looking out the window every day. These are not the kind of things my sister would do. It counts, Tian Haijuli Yulai emphasized, and was busy with the work at hand, adding cocoa powder and flour to the mixed things. She felt it was so relaxing to chat with her twin sister like this. She knew herself, and he knew her. They have feelings for each other in their hearts, and just one look can create a language that only belongs to the two of them. Twins are like mirrors to each other, growing up in the same womb, facing each other. At 14 weeks, they can interact with each other to a certain extent and build a special relationship that only belongs to the two of them. Developmental processes can also be like mirrors of each other. This would explain why most twins have birthmarks in opposite locations and opposite handedness. However, in Tian Haijuli Yulai's heart, she and Chi Minjiao are exactly the same. She often felt that the two of them were one, but God was worried about her loneliness, so he deliberately separated self and created another self, allowing her to grow up with him, chat with him, and walk hand in hand through the first half of his life. If she could, she wouldn't want to be separated from her twin sister, let alone completely turn against her. Thinking about it this way, it would be reasonable for her to fall in love with the same person as herself. Fix the cookie ingredients with molds, then sprinkle them with chocolate dots and chopped nuts. Tian Haijuli Yulai pushed the plate into the oven and set the baking time. Tian Haijuli Yulai took off her apron and looked at her other self standing next to her again. 7 bright moons. Huh, Tian Haikiming Yu responded. Us. Tian Haikiming Yu knew what her sister wanted to say just by looking at her, and stopped her in time. Sister, don't talk about heavy topics now. Talking too much will not be conducive to the atmosphere and will not sound good. When Tian Haijuli Yulai saw her twin sister who understood her so well, she felt mixed emotions and said with a smile. Okay, let's not talk about that. Sister, why don't we discuss how about letting me be your sister for a few days? This is vetoed. Why? There's nothing good about being a sister, and if you ask me to call you sister, I'll feel weird. Sister, come here. Do what? Come a little closer. Tianhai Julie Yulai came closer, and Tianhai Kaimingyu held her hand. Sister's hands are still so warm and soft. Perhaps it was the special connection between twins. When Tianhai Julie Yulai held hands with her sister, her face felt a little hot for some reason. Here, say something. This is a fact. I know, but there's no need to emphasize it. Why is sister so shy? This is not shy. It's just that I feel a little strange when I'm always with you like this. Have you never felt this way, Chi Minjiao? Yes, I feel that I will be particularly friendly when meeting my sister. Isn't that what it is? Well, then I have to say something seriously to my sister. What? Tianhai Julie Yulai saw the solemn look on Tianhai Kaimingyu's face and couldn't help but become serious. Sister, we have been together for 16 years since we were born. During these 16 years, we have been inseparable, and this matter is very important. I hope you can accept it, sister. Although Tianhai Julie Yulai was listening carefully, the more she listened carefully, the more uneasy she became. Sister, I'm going to say it, are you ready? Good. The two people's interlocked fingers couldn't help but clenched each other. Both could feel the tension between them. Can I be your sister? Tianhai Julie Yulai. May I? What? Tianhai Julie Yulai resisted the urge to slap her sister's forehead. Don't take this kind of thing so seriously, okay? Looks like there's nothing to talk about anymore. However, Tianhai Julie Yulai's attitude became much more relaxed. Why do you want to be a sister so much? No reason, I just want to experience the comfort of being called sister by my sister. No, Tianhai Julie Yulai refused. Just one time. No, Tianhai Julie Yulai continued to refuse. Just once, Tianhai Kaimingyu continued to request. Tianhai Julie Yulai still relented. Let's talk about it later when we have a chance. Anyway, I'll give it a try for you. Then it's settled. It's agreed. The two of them still held their hands together, and Tianhai Julie Yulai noticed her eyes. Chi Minjiao, what else do you want to say? Do you want to take a shower together tonight? Let's wash them together. You can, but you are not allowed to touch Kaimingyu. This won't work. It's just a bath, what's there to touch? Tianhai Julie Yulai couldn't help but say. After all, we are sisters. Let's take a shower together, okay? Tianhai Julie Yulai couldn't help but let go when facing Chi Minjiao, even though he knew that the sister would mess around in the bath. Okay then, let's do it together. But, are we reconciled now? She finally couldn't help but ask. We are making peace, Tianhai Kaimingyu said expressionlessly. Amamai Kuruori also found out, and now the two of them get along as long as they don't mention Sakakibara Raku. It will definitely be a harmonious chat like now. This can be regarded as slowly repairing the emotions in life in a real sense. That's fine. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 250. 3 weeks, within these 3 weeks. Work on the new music is in full swing. It has been a while since Tianhai's Higsu came home. Since Sakakibara wrote her a survival manual, her habits have changed significantly. At least, I had some common sense when I came into contact with Sakakibara Raku, and I wouldn't take off my clothes in front of him again. Even after taking a shower, she would still come out with her bare feet wet and only wrapped in a bath towel, and her hair would be spread wetly behind her. She would often find Sakakibara Raku, who was still worrying about the style of her lyrics in the bedroom, and ask him to blow dry her hair. When Sakakibara was blow drying her hair from behind, she would often make this lazy cry like a groundhog. Obviously the girl seems to be very well behaved, and she feels happy when she combs her hair, but Sakakibara always feels something strange. Yuki, Why do you always make such a sound? The hairdryer was blowing hot air, and Raku Sakakihara kept rubbing her head. I'm imitating animals. Amami no Yuki was made to lower her head by Sakakihara Raku's movements. Animal imitation. What do you do when you imitate an animal? Express emotions. Sakakibara carefully recalled Yuki's protracted tone just now. Are you saying you felt very comfortable just now? Tianhai's Higsu shook her head dully. Then what did you mean just now? Sakakihara waved the hairdryer in her hand and kept lifting her comfortable hair. Unhappy. Sakakihara Raku didn't expect that she would be in an unhappy mood. You must know that Tianzio is very normal these days. Because she rented a studio specially, she can still play guitar there casually. Logically speaking, Zhigzia should feel happy. Why? Sakakibara asked. Le hasn't been editing videos recently. This is true. Sakakibara is busy practicing guitar and bass, and recently she is busy writing new songs. She has messed up a song countless times in 3 weeks, and she really doesn't have much time to help Zhigzia manage her account. The 2 videos I submitted went silent after they both received millions of views. Many fans who were left behind have requested updates. Well, you can ask Ling for help. Although she can only shoot short videos, doesn't she call herself the Minister of Social Affairs now? Don't you two have a good relationship? If you ask her, she will still be happy to help. I don't want to ask Suzu. Did you have a fight? Tianhai's Higsu did not answer. After getting along for more than a month, Sakakihara Raku also learned a little about the habits of girls. When she doesn't want to answer questions, she will choose to remain silent. This is very similar to Chi Minjio. In the past, Sakakihara Raku would have been troubled by why Yuki said that. And puzzled. But now, he has been able to think about problems on his own. First of all, the relationship between Suzu and Zayuki is definitely not broken. Yesterday, they were sitting and eating fried ice cream together. You fed me and I fed you. They had a very good relationship. Secondly, Zhigzhu will definitely not make Ling angry. She is just a natural idiot. She is just stupid every day. Even if she does something wrong, Ling will definitely not blame her. Knowing this condition, we can start to assume that what if Zhigzhu just wants to help her edit the video? As soon as this question was conceived, Sakakihara Raku felt that everything made sense. Tianhai's Higsu just wanted to help her edit the video. In order to verify this idea, Sakakihara asked behind the girl's head. Did Yuki come to me specially to help you dry your hair? I definitely didn't avoid Xiaoqi and Xiaoju on purpose. You're not asking for it, okay. Why come to me directly? Because Le is stupid. I just don't want you to call me an idiot, Sakakibara retorted flatly, then remembered something, and while combing the girl's hair, he added, besides, most people who say I'm an idiot like me. Tianhai's Higsu said for a long time, as if he was trying to think about something. Le is stupid. She finally said this when she couldn't think of anything else. Sakakibara smiled quietly and said, you want to say that I am narcissistic, right? I'm not happy anymore, stupid. Then you should say I'm smart. At this point in the conversation, Sakakihara Raku also understood that Amami no Yuki was indeed dependent on him to a certain extent. It's okay to be dependent, Ling also has it for herself. She definitely likes herself, but she knows her identity very well and what kind of attitude she should have towards that kind of relationship, so her expression in front of her is limited to intimacy and coquettishness between family members. That's all. But the snow is different. Not only did she have no understanding, she was completely unaware of her own feelings. She is as pure as snow. Perhaps from the beginning, he should have left all the care to Chi Minjia or Julie Yulai. But when he turned around and thought about it carefully, they all had their own things to be busy with. Both my uncle and my mother were hands-off shopkeepers and only focused on giving money. Among the few people in the family, he is the only one who always has time to take care of Zhigzhu. There is nothing we can do about this. By the way, Sakaki Hararaku thinks that he can be liked because he takes too much care of them and is always considerate of their feelings. Regarding Amami no Yuki, it is no longer about how Sakaki Hararaku feels about her, it is not important. The important thing is that Zhigzhu has begun to feel a little dependent on him, and she will think of him immediately when everything happens. Keep going like this. It's not too late to avoid it now. Can Yuki promise me a few things? If you have any questions in the future, you can ask Ling or Kiju or the others instead of coming to me all the time. You can also ask Ling for help when editing videos. I will tell her. If you want to eat something after school starts, you can also ask Ling. You guys have a pretty good relationship with them. Of course, just tell me what you want to eat and I will definitely cook it for you. Tianhai's Higsu was quiet for a long time after hearing these words. She didn't answer or move. She was just like always, to put it simply, she just couldn't figure out what was going on in her head. She was probably thinking hard, but because she wasn't good at expressing her feelings, she kept her head down and said nothing. Until Sakaki Bara told her that her hair was done and she could go back to sleep, Amami Nazuki was still silent as if she was thinking about something. Sakaki Hara watched her leave. Although Higsu is very natural, she is not stupid. She can fully understand what she means. And this time was different from the one in Tianhai Kaimingyu. He and Higsu had just met each other not long ago, and they had not experienced the same childhood experiences as Chi Minjiu. The next day. That is to say, 3 weeks after Sakaki Bara received the clear task, the new song has almost taken shape. This is thanks to the unremitting efforts of several people after practicing in the past 3 weeks. Focusing on this piece, under the guidance of Yoshihara Senpai who often comes to visit, someone made some requests. Let's try to play together. No one objected and the recording equipment was moved out. During this period, Sakaki Hararakai was paying attention to whether there were any changes in the snow of Amami. When he saw that she was still looking out the window in a daze, he felt a lot more at ease. It seems that I am not as important in her heart as I thought. Sakaki Bara thought about this, and the heavy atmosphere accumulated last night was instantly swept away. Much more relaxed. After preparing all the recording equipment, Tianhai Kaimingyu handed over the arrangement that she and Tianhai's Higsu co-created to everyone to rehearse, and the result was a pretty good performance in no time. The ensemble went quite smoothly. The music style is pop rock, with some elements of classical instruments added, and there is a long piano solo by Tianhai Julie Yulai in the middle. With her level, a mere piano solo is no problem. When he heard those musical notes, Sakaki Hararaku also felt that his soul was flying. However, Tianhai Kaimingyu still seems to be dissatisfied with some aspects. Miss Yoshihara also pointed out some shortcomings in the arrangement before going to work. She also brought good news. Everyone, I got in touch with an old friend who plays guitar. She said she has an underground live venue over there that you can try. The stage is quite big. You can go up there in 2 days. No refunds if you exceed the deadline. Wait. Knowing that they could take the stage seriously in the near future, under heavy pressure, everyone had to step up the production of the song and gathered together to discuss it. Would it be better to start the intro on the piano in a minor key? The sound of the bell can be changed a lot, and this feature can also be added. What? Then won't it make me more tired from singing like this? I think it's feasible. At the moment when a ling breaks out, Zhigsu's electric guitar will continue to play, giving it a wild effect. No, 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 that would become German-style metal music, which is somewhat different from pop rock. Well, let me think about it. There is nothing wrong with starting with the piano, but the overall rhythm cannot go from dull to dull, otherwise it will just make the song very boring, and the opening verse should be particularly catchy, giving the feeling that something is brewing in the calmness. How about adding a rhythm in the middle? Just like this, unintentionally Yuli demonstrated a 4-bar melody on the electronic keyboard. Okay. Very good. Add a little more electric guitar chords. The snare drum must be added at the first moment of transition. Add a prelude, Sakakihara asked after thinking about it. After that, Tianhai Kaimingyu and Tianhai Yuli played a short melody that they had just come up with. This is the feeling of transformation. Sakakihara's heart trembled when he heard this. Then it's decided. While there's still time now, I'll revise the music and play it again. I have to admit that Julie Yuli and Chi Minjiu have top-notch learning abilities. Even if it is pop music that they are not very familiar with, they can quickly understand what makes a melody catch their ears. The arrangement became more and more sophisticated under their charge. Sakakihara is very pleased to see that they can now get together to discuss how the music has changed. Brother, do you have a computer? Ah, I brought it. Do you want to reset the audio track? Well, after all, a lot of things have been changed. Changing the accompaniment is a troublesome thing, and it didn't take long for Sakakihara to learn to use these professional software. But he didn't want to make no contribution to the piece, so he stared hard at the screen and worked overtime to complete the accompaniment and soundtrack. Okay, you can try recording again. Sakakihara held the computer and plugged various devices into the computer's interface, and then recorded Suzu's part, Kuruori's part, Zyuki and Nanamayu's ensemble parts in sequence. During the recording period, Sakakihara was already more excited about the unfinished music. After the recording was completed, he quickly plugged in the headphones, and then superimposed each person's performance in the software in sequence. First there is the piano at the beginning of Julie Yuli, then a Ling singing, and then the alternating solos of the two. Then the two of them played together until they entered the second stage of the song. At this time, Chi Minjiu's drum set and Ji Shue's electric guitar were superimposed. This feeling of constantly adding bright colors to a canvas, gradually brightening the world, is extremely joyful. Raku Sakakihara was processing these pieces of audio on the computer, and even completely lost track of time. So much so that at 9 o'clock in the evening, several of them had not yet gone home and stayed with him here waiting for the new song to be released. The time was getting later and later. At 4:30 in the evening, the takeaway lunch ordered by Suzu Sakakihara arrived. At this point, no one had any intention of going home. Just do it right there in the music studio. Snap. Sakakibara clicked the left mouse button on his right hand, took a deep breath, and the tension he felt when operating the program completely disappeared. He slowly poked his face out from the computer screen and glanced at the girls sitting in front of him eating lunch together. With a slightly serious tone, he said to everyone, "Finished." Everyone turned around at the same time. In this solemn atmosphere, Tianhai Kaimingyu was the first to react. "The mixing is also completed." Yes, Sakakihara nodded. "Which one of you wants to listen first?" Me. Sakakihara Suzu never knew what politeness meant in front of her family, so she was the first to raise her hand. Okay, Sakakibara immediately called up the complete audio, and handed the headphones on his head to Sakakibara Suzu, who had pulled up a stool and sat next to him. "Brother, you must have heard it, right?" Sakakihara Suzu said while putting the headphones on her head. "That's not the case." Sakakihara shook his head. "I have only listened to your respective parts. I don't know the overall effect yet. I don't know whether it is good or bad. So this is considered music that we spent 3 weeks making. Yes, the first piece of music that belongs to us. It sounds inexplicably sacred." Sakakibara Suzu held the earphones in both hands and asked Sakakihara Raku with a little worry, "Is it really okay to leave such a sacred matter to us?" Sakakibara smiled at his sister who was wearing headphones and said, "That's the truth. After all, it is music we created independently. Whether it is good or bad, everyone will expect it to be good or bad. Brother, you're making me nervous. Then are you ready?" "Wait a minute." Sakakihara Suzu took 2 deep breaths, closed her eyes, and said solemnly, "Okay, we can start." Raku Sakakihara pressed the play button. Music, 5 minutes in length. During these 5 minutes, Suzu Sakakihara sat still on the chair like a Buddha, with her hands motionless and her facial expression unchanged. The way she closed her eyes made it impossible to see any color. Everyone stopped eating and looked at her face. Finally, 5 minutes passed, and Suzu Sakakihara handed the earphones to Amami Nanamajetsu, who came over without saying a word. "How is it?" Sakakihara asked curiously. Sakakihara Suzu just shook her head. This can't help but make Sakakihara Raku a little worried. "Is it because he can't arrange music? Or are you saying that your mixing was too rough? Next, there is the 7 bright moons in the sky and sea." Tianhai Kaimingyu did not close her eyes, but she also listened to the music in the headphones without saying a word, and cast her eyes on the computer screen where the music score kept jumping. Then came Tianhai Yuli, who took the headphones. 5 minutes was the time, and Sakakibara could see her lips moving gently as time progressed, and her slender fingers tapping lightly on the cold table covered with wires. "How is it?" Sakakihara asked again. Tianhai Yuli also has nothing to say. Then there was Tianhai's Higsu, who was even more expressionless. But this made Sakakibara even more curious. "What is it like? You guys have been listening for more than 20 minutes, why don't you talk directly?" "After all, it's the effect of the preliminary mixing," Nanami said flatly, which made Sakakihara Raku seem to hear disappointment in her mouth. "But it's already pretty good," Tianhai Yuli continued. "How is it?" Sakakibara Raku's heart has become impatient. Is his coordination terrible, or is there something wrong with everyone's policy? Judging from everyone's tone, something doesn't seem right. "Brother, you can try it yourself first." The old girl said this, and Raku Sakakibara quickly put on the headphones and pressed the play button on the computer. He closed his eyes. Within 5 minutes, he did the same thing. 5 minutes later, Sakakihara took off his headphones with a calm expression. "How are you, bro?" It was Sakakihara Suzu's turn to be curious. "Well, even though it's a preliminary tune, it's already more than good." Raku Sakakihara really didn't want to play with this group of girls who were trying to tease him. Their disappointed expressions just now were all just teasing themselves. "Chi Minjio, tell me." Tianhai Kaimingyu crossed her arms and looked away coldly. "I just don't want you to get too carried away. I can still hear the quality of the music. So, you understand the feeling of something moving in your heart. I don't need to say anything more." Yes, Sakakihara Raku quite agrees with what Amami Nanamayu said. And for Tianhai Kaimingyu to be highly rated pop music, there is no need to prove anything else. Thinking of these, Sakakibara couldn't help but look at the completed song on the computer screen and swallowed. "I understand that if it doesn't work, it will really get popular. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple." Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 251. Yoshihara Senpai's old friend is named Mito Hui. According to Yoshihara Senpai, Mito Hui now works in a planning company and is mainly responsible for the coordination of music live. That is to say, he is responsible for arranging which bands to perform on stage at nearby live houses. On the first day of the 4th week, Sakakibara asked her to meet at a coffee shop. "I heard that Sakakibara-kun has only been practicing bass for more than a month. I had a guitar foundation before, but now I'm just picking up my old skills." Having said that, judging from the video now gave me, Your technique is quite mature and much better than many bass players I've seen. Just yesterday, the morning after the piece was finished, Yoshihara-senpai told everyone that her friend, Naomi Dohue, needed a performance of theirs to see if they were qualified to be on stage. After all, an old friend can't help too much. If a band that can only play Little Stars is invited to the stage, then the audience shouldn't boo in unison. So there is the video that Dohue is talking about now. Coincidentally, Sakaki Hararaku had just completed the first stage of the mission and upgraded his bass technique to Leave 4, Master. It is not surprising that someone like Dohue, who has frequent contact with music, discovered his master-level performance. Excessive praise, Sakakibara said modestly. Dohue waved her hand and said with a smile, No, although there are many jokes about bass players on the internet, passers-by think that they are the same whether they have a bass or not. But in fact, if a song does not have a bass, it will look very pale. Powerless. The key to bass is to make the band's music more interesting and rhythmic, and Sakakibara-kun does a great job. As Yoshihara-senpai said before coming to meet, Dohue is a very well-spoken and obedient person. As a friend of her seniors, she had no intention of embarrassing herself at all. There are 5 people in your band, right? Yes. Are they really all high school students? I see. I see, that's great. All the members of a rock band are high school students, and 4 of them are beautiful girls. This is a very eye-catching selling point. Okay, I think you guys fully qualified to perform on stage. Sakakibara was not in a hurry to be happy, because he could see that Dohue was thinking about something else and had something else to say. I just wonder if Sakakibara-kun can discuss with the members of your band to wear your school uniform when you go on stage to perform. Sakakibara thought it was some kind of target requirement, and he would have to make up the money if he didn't meet it, but he didn't expect it to be this. Miss Mido, do you want to emphasize the attributes of high school students? Yes, Dohue laughed. It seems that Sakakibara-kun also understands what I mean. To be honest, there are no bands composed of high school students who can perform in underground live performances at the moment. If you can participate, it will be very helpful to the organizers. It's also a new thing. This request is nothing to Sakakibara, and high school students are indeed the selling point of their band. Things went quite smoothly from then on. Most matters have been settled. Then, next is the schedule. Sakakibara said decisively, Miss Mido, can you arrange it for tomorrow? Tomorrow? Are you in such a hurry? Dohue thought seriously for a moment and replied, but it's unlikely. Tomorrow's bands have been arranged in order, and we have also notified the other party to come to the scene on time. The fastest it will have to be postponed to the day after tomorrow, because a band is absent the day after tomorrow, and I happen to be looking for their replacement. Then just follow Miss Mido's arrangements. Well, then it's almost settled, the day after tomorrow, right? 9 songs, about an hour long. 1 hour, Sakakibara raised an eyebrow. Do you think it's too short-lived? Dohue couldn't help but smile. Sakakibara-kun is really greedy. No, it's too long. We don't have that many songs to play. And if we want to add more songs, we also need a certain amount of time to rehearse. It's too much at the moment, so it's a bit reluctant. I understand, let me think about it. How about half an hour for the 6 songs? You can give it more time and change it flexibly. This is okay. Okay, then the matter is settled. The other thing is the salary. As long as Miss Mido pays the salary, it will be fine. Sakakibara-kun is really polite. Asterisk. When I got home, it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. Aling has to work today, while Juliuli and Chi Minjio continue to polish the details of the new song in the music studio. With these 2 talented classical music girls helping to control the details, Sakakihara Raku naturally paid a lot of attention to it. Raku Sakakihara couldn't help but feel excited at the thought of the band he founded together with them being able to perform on a formal stage and play a new song created by them together. The hard work over the past month will soon see real results. And the relationship between Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiu is also getting better. Everything is getting better, isn't it? I'm back. Taking out the key and turning the door lock, Sakakibara put on his slippers and walked into the living room as usual. I took a cup from the kitchen, and as soon as I went to the water dispenser to get a cup of hot water to drink, out of the corner of my eye I spotted a head sticking out of the corner of the bedroom corridor. Amami Nazuki held her hands on the wall, her eyes always staring at Sakakibara Raku with pure eyes. What's wrong? Sakakibara put down the water glass and looked over and asked. Hungry? That's right, it's already 7 o'clock, Raku Sakakihara glanced at the clock hanging in the living room. What would Yuki want to eat? Fried ice cream. Eat this again. As Ellie said, if you write a new song, you can eat it every day. Well, this is indeed the promise Sakakihara Raku made to her. Then you wait in the living room for a while, I will do it for you now. Tianhai's Higsu stood out from the bedroom corridor with bare feet. She has long black hair that falls down to her waist, and is wearing the blue woolen pajamas she often wears. Her oval-shaped face is exquisite, small, and well-proportioned against the backdrop of a pair of delicate eyebrows. A pair of bare feet on the floor, coupled with her ethereal white temperament, made Sakakibara think of the first time he saw her. The Tianhai family's bloodline is really outstanding, and the women are all beauties. Sakakihara couldn't help but sigh again. Nezuki, why do you always like to go barefoot? Don't like wearing shoes? Weird hobbies. But I have to say that Amami Yuki's feet are the most outstanding style of girl's feet that Sakakibara has ever seen. The slender legs are close together, the little feet are slender and soft, the soles of the feet are on the floor, and the white skin is as pure and flawless as snow. The thin nails between the white toes are also like crystal clear emeralds. Probably because of her temperament, she walked light and agile, as if she were stepping on soft feathers in the white snow. She sat on the sofa in the living room, and Sakakihara couldn't help but glance at her little feet, feeling that she must be very cold. Aren't your feet cold? Cold. If it's cold, wear shoes. Amami no Yuki silently looked down at her feet, then raised her head again and said to Raku Sakakibara, I don't want to wear them. What kind of excuse is this? Sakakibara went to her bedroom to help her take out the slippers and put them in front of her. Put them on. Tianhai's Higsu blinked. Sakakihara thought she was in a daze and didn't hear her. Put it on quickly. Higsu. After all, it was Lee's order. Tianhai's Higsu put on her slippers pitifully. Why do you say it as if I'm bullying you? Sakakibara came to the kitchen and took out eggs, toast, breadcrumbs and ice cream from the refrigerator. The toast bread is changed into a round shape, and then the ice cream is wrapped in the form of a dumpling. Finally, it is wrapped in egg liquid, dipped in breadcrumbs, and fried directly in hot oil. The key to fried ice cream is controlling the heat. Among them, the ice cream must be the kind that is frozen solid. After the pan is rolled in oil, the outside skin is crispy, but the ice cream inside is only slightly melted. Sakakihara Raku can do this perfectly. He is completely confident that his current skills are many times better than those of other chefs. Taking the freshly baked fried ice cream out of the small pan one by one, Raku Sakakibara brought the fried items to Amami Yuki, who had been waiting. How was your day? Tasty. Sakakibara was happy to see that she was really comfortable eating and felt much more relaxed. Despite what I said to you the day before yesterday, if you want to eat, just tell me and I will still make it for you. If nothing else, I am absolutely confident in my craftsmanship. What is Lee's dream? Why do you suddenly ask this? I don't have a dream. I should say that I don't have a dream that is completely my own. If I have to say it, there was a time before when my dream was to be a house husband, Raku Sakakibara said with a smile. Of course. It's just a dream. I actually just want to eat soft food and do nothing, and then someone can come and support me. In reality, this is a complete daydream, right? Eating soft food. Zhigzhu, you must not understand. After all, making money is very tiring. Are you tired? That's for sure. Not everyone is a eldest lady like you, with a rich father who dotes on you. Tianhai's Zhigzhu ate the deep-fried ice cream he made for herself seriously, listening to his voice talking beside her. As the conversation continued, the conversation turned to his past stories. For example, what would happen if there was no money? How uncomfortable he and Aling were during the time when they had no money. Tianhai Zhishue listened carefully. He also talked about the recent band affairs and said that he was happy because the relationship between Qi Minjiao and Julie Yulai had improved. Tianhai's Zhigzhu couldn't quite feel what made him happy. She could only see that the expression on his face changed when he said this. Finished. I am full. Tianhai's Zhigzhu just shook her head. Sakakibara packed up what she had finished and said, it's just that you haven't eaten enough. Think of it as a dessert before a meal. It's not good to eat too much of this. Julie Yulai, Qi Minjiao and Aling will be back later. I'll cook first. The food Le cooks is also delicious. As long as you like it, Sakakihara smiled at her, just sit and rest. Anyway, you have nothing to do. Do you want to watch TV or something? Ling's TV series will start soon. You want to watch it together when she comes back, right? Well, I'll open it for you first. Sakakibara picked up the remote control panel, turned on the 100-inch TV, and tuned her to Suzu's favorite channel. Then he carried the plate into the kitchen and started the last busy work of the day. Amami no Yuki watched him busy, and soon after, Sakakihara Suzu came home after finishing her work. She shouted, I'm so exhausted, I'm so exhausted. She didn't bother to take off the small bag on her waist. When she got home, she got a glass of water, and then she lay directly on the sofa and watched TV with Tianhai's Zhigzhu. TV dramas are still Suzu Sakakihara's favorite love dramas. The plot reaches a twist, with the male protagonist confessing to the female protagonist. Tianhai's Zhigzhu actually didn't understand much. She just cared about what the male protagonist said to the female protagonist, I will be willing to cook for you all my life, so please stay with me. Bell. Huh, Sakakibara Suzu hugged the carrot doll and sat on the sofa. What does it mean? What you said about the TV series is just a confession. Why? He will be able to cook for her all his life. Because it's a confession. As soon as the confession is made, the two will start dating. Don't you know about love, Zhigzhu? Why are you still asking this? Tianhai's Zhigzhu did not answer. This actually aroused Sakakihara Suzu's curiosity. In her mind, although this little ant is a blank slate, she does not understand the concept of communication. For example, Zhigzhu knew that the smelly old man was in a relationship with Julie Yulai. But she clearly understood, why did she still ask? Why does Zhigzhu care so much about this? Because, you can eat until the food is cooked. Understood. Sakakihara Suzu understood instantly. It turned out that Yuki only understood the concept of communication, but did not understand the meaning of communication and the emotions contained in communication. In other words, the girl Tianhai's Zhigzhu has weak emotions. She knows emotions but does not understand them. So, Zioki and Ziyaju can always eat the food cooked by Le. Sakakihara Suzu's eyes widened when she heard this. What does this mean? Zioki and Ziyaju can always eat the food cooked by Le. Doesn't this mean envy? Does this mean that my new friend also likes that guy? No, no. Think about it carefully. The biggest reason for Zhigzhu is probably that she likes the food cooked by her brother. He's not that charming. It's not to the point where everyone loves her. Sakakihara Suzu comforted herself like this, and she quickly felt relieved. Asterisk. After dinner, everyone gathered together, and Sakakihara discussed with them the performance the day after tomorrow. Everyone had no objection to wearing uniforms to perform. Chi Minjiu didn't like it at first, but she didn't mean to refuse. After informing everyone that they will continue to train in the music studio tomorrow, Raku Sakakihara was the last one to take a shower and get out of the bathroom. He returned to the room and immediately saw someone lying on his bed. Still covered with quilt. 7 or 9. Sakakihara couldn't help but start thinking. 7 doesn't seem to be in the mood today, but 9 has been very clingy to herself lately. There's nothing wrong with him coming to sleep on his own at night. With this thought in mind, Sakakibara opened the quilt directly, without even turning on the light, and lay down next to the girl inside. He was about to hug him, but the sound he heard next almost scared Sakakibara Rakuhan away. Happy. Zyuki. Wait, why are you here? Raku Sakakibara quickly got out of bed. He thought to himself, what was wrong with his bed? Why are you so attracted to women? Someone secretly arranged a peach blossom array for themselves. Fortunately I didn't hug him just now, otherwise I wouldn't be able to explain anything clearly. Tianhai's Higsu just poked her head out of the quilt, and said to him without emotion, as if she was deliberately imitating someone's tone. Ellie, I like you. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 252. The girl's quiet gaze seemed breathless. She, Zhigzhu, a girl as pure as early winter snowflakes, was confessing her love to herself, and she still said such words to herself while lying on her bed. This made Sakakibara subconsciously ask the girl on the bed. Real. I like music, Tianhai's Higsu repeated in a small but very clear voice. What do you like about me? Sakakibara Raku's rhetorical question made Amami no Yuki stuck for a long time, and her naturally natural face looked even duller. However, her mind kept recalling the TV series she had just watched with Suzu, and she remembered the answer of the male protagonist in the TV series. Like it all. She paused again like a machine stuck, looking like she was thinking hard about something. During this period, those eyes were staring at Sakakibara Raku without emotion. And your face, your character, your heart, and the bright blue and gold lipstick on your lips. What the hell is a bright blue and gold lipstick? In the past, Sakakihara Raku would still blush and his heart would beat because a girl was willing to confess to him. Now, he has felt that his heart is much calmer and more rational. Standing by the bed and looking at the girl lying on his bed, he thought for a while in silence and then replied. Anyway, where did you get the line from, Zhigzhu? It's so blunt. Why aren't you talking? Sakakihara asked. Tianhai's Higsu lowered her eyebrows and said with a little more affection, it's too much fun. Am I going too far? It's obviously my first confession. Then your confession should be more formal. Rakuta Sakakibara felt like his fist was hardened. Let's date. No. You can rub your breasts for Ellie. No. We can take a bath together every day. No. You can also share fried ice cream with Ellie. Don't share with me what I made for you. It's hard, the fist is really hard. Sakakibara let out a long sigh, raised his head again, and met the girl's eyes. The girl was silent, as quiet as a cat lying on the roof wagging its tail in summer. At the same time, her gaze had the feeling of "I only have eyes for you," which made Rakia Sakakihara stare at her for a while. On her flawless little face, even if she expressed love, she did not show any emotion. This he thought the Kaiminyu, which also has some three-nothingness, rises. However, Chi Minjiu's eyes appear firmer and more focused when she expresses her love. If you observe carefully, you can find a variety of complex emotions intertwined deep in her eyes. The trembling in her eyes when she was rejected by him and the loneliness that seemed to be forgotten in a corner were the emotions that Sakakihara Raku could really feel. Compared to Nanami Yuki, apart from concentration, it was difficult for Sakakihara Raku to see other emotions in Amamiya Yuki's eyes. "Shigyu, I can't promise you. Have you been rejected?" But I like fun." "Shigyu, the love is mutual. To have a relationship, both parties must like each other. Unlike ordinary girls who feel sad and lost when they are rejected, Amami no Yuki has almost no reaction. She only understood the fact that Raku doesn't like herself, so she can't date through Sakakihara Raku's words just now. Sakakibara took the initiative to sit on the edge of the bed, and took the initiative to look at the petite girl lying on the inside of the bed. "After all, why did Shigyu suddenly confess to me?" "Confess and have something to eat?" "Huh? What do you mean?" After wandering around for a long time, Sakakihara Raku finally understood the reason why she confessed to him from Shigyu, who was not good at explaining reasons. "It turns out that I just saw the male protagonist's confession to the female protagonist in the TV series. I knew that after dating, I would always have food to eat, so I confessed to myself. No matter what, this confession is indeed too hasty." After spending more than 10 minutes explaining to the girl that her current confession was not a true confession, Tianhai's Shigyu nodded in confusion before she was willing to leave his bed. "I don't know if she really understands it." Sakakibara watched her get out of the quilt and put on slippers on her slender feet. "Happy? Ellie, you will make food for me later, right?" For some reason, Sakakibara felt that Amami no Yuki had the seriousness of Nanamijetsu when she said this. Regarding this question, he also asked seriously. "For Shigyu, what kind of status do you think you have here?" Tianhai's Shigyu paused for a moment, stared at him and tilted her head slightly, a happy pet. "Such Yuki, you have all these weird knowledge in your head. Are we not friends?" Sakakibara held his forehead in annoyance, "and what I'm asking about is at home, not just the two of us." "I don't know," the girl answered simply. "Does Shigyu know?" "Your father put you here so that you can have a suitable living environment and a normal campus life. And what about us? We have never treated you as an outsider, whether it is Chi Minjiu, Julie Yulai, or Aling, everyone treats you as a peer in a true sense, and naturally treats me as a family member. I will definitely take care of you wherever I can, and I will definitely accept appropriate and reasonable requests. Promise, I treat you as a friend and a member of the family, so you can tell me whatever you want to eat and I will prepare it for you when I have time. Regarding Yuki, you can agree to reasonable requests, but reject unreasonable requests directly." This is what Raku Sakakihara thinks. After hearing this, Tianhai's Shigyu nodded. "Yuki, do you understand?" I hope you really understand. Okay, if you don't have anything else to do, go back to your room." If he didn't go back, he would disturb Nanami Minjiu later. When she came over and saw Zayuki, who was disheveled and only wearing a thin pajama, Sakakibara would have to explain to her. She was definitely willing to believe in herself, but that didn't mean she wasn't jealous. "We have fans." Tianhai's Shigyu walked to the door and suddenly turned around and said the sentence. Sakakihara looked over and picked up the topic. "Are you talking about the account that was registered for you? A fan left a message asking for an update. I told you before about editing, you can try asking a Ling for help." Ling said he couldn't. She said that. Tianhai's Higsu nodded again. Ling said that she only edits short videos, and the office edits the larger videos for her. Sakakibara thought about it carefully, and it was right. That idiot Isuzu would take some selfie videos for his own account. Guitar playing videos like Higsu's that require dubbing tracks require professional software, and it took him a while before he dared to edit Higsu's videos. Where are 7 and 9? Xiaoqi has something to do, Xiaoju can't do it? It takes a long time, but you still have to help her edit it yourself, right? Okay, I'll help you edit the next videos too. Le can teach me. You want me to teach you? This feeling is good. This is no problem, I can agree. Before Amami Yuki was about to return to her room, Sakakibara confirmed with her again, Yuki, are you sure you understand that your confession tonight is not a true confession? Tianhai's Higsu nodded. Seeing her nodding so sincerely and seriously, Sakaki Hararaku also felt relieved. That's good. Good night, Le. Good night. Watching Amami no Yuki return to her own bedroom, Sakaki Hararaku stood at the door again, passed through the corridor, and glanced at Chi Minjiu and Juliuli Aling who were still in the living room. They were sitting together watching TV series. The lighting in the living room tends to be warm-toned, and the back figures of the three girls sitting together watching TV also look a bit warm. Seems quite friendly. Sakakibara breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they didn't notice it. If they knew that Higsu had confessed to them, they weren't sure what would happen. After closing the bedroom door, Sakakibara lay back on his bed, lying on his side and covering the cup, facing the wall. Probably because Higsu had been sulking in her bed for a while, there was still a bit of her fragrance on the pillow. How can I say this aroma? It's like the pine aroma you smell in winter. The fragrance is a little bitter, and it also has the coolness and clearness of snowflakes. Sakakibara didn't care about how her body fragrance was mixed, but began to face the wall and think about why so many girls confessed to her. It is true that he is handsome and has systematic charm, but he is not to the point where he has to confess to himself as a woman. If he guessed correctly, what everyone likes should be the care and concern he gives to each other no matter what, right? You will not blame the other party for doing something wrong, nor will you question the other party about what is wrong. And try to give each other accommodation and warmth in feelings and life. Sakaki Hararaku couldn't help but change the gender of his character. If you have a wife who is willing to cook 3 meals for you at any time, a wife who is willing to prepare lunch for you every day, a wife who tells her what you want to eat and she will make it for you, and is considerate of your mood all the time and loves you, I never try to blame myself and am willing to give warmth and hugs when I am sad. It seems that this is indeed a woman who only appears in dreams, right? Sakaki Hara held his head and looked at the ceiling instead. He couldn't help but smile. He didn't expect that he would actually become his ideal type. Thinking of this, he understood a lot. However, he also understood that these things still could not allow him to shoulder the feelings of 7 and 9 at the same time. It depends on the finance level for you are about to obtain. Asterisk. Le, good morning. Good morning. Le, I want to eat steamed buns. That's okay. I haven't eaten steamed buns in the morning for a long time. I'll go out for a morning run later and buy some more to eat back. Le, it's in your bowl. Here you go, all of it. At 9 o'clock in the morning, the day before the 5 of them went on stage to perform together, Tianhai Kaimingyu noticed a subtle change on the dining table. The female director on the TV in the living room was broadcasting today's weather. While everyone except Sakaki Bararaku and Amami Yuki were concentrating on eating, Amami Nanami chewed the buns in her mouth slowly and held the chopsticks in her hands. A sentence came out suddenly. Brother is a little extra caring today. Amami Kuruori immediately looked towards her sister, and such sudden words made her follow Nanami Yuki's gaze towards Sakakibara Raku, who was putting buns on Amami no Yuki. Sakakibara Suzu heard their movements and looked towards Sakakibara Raku. Within a few seconds, Sakakibara Raku noticed that everyone's eyes were on him from all directions. "Watch what I do." Although he was indeed giving her a bun, Sakakibara was quite calm. Putting a bun on it doesn't mean anything, right? Amami Kuruori and Sakakibara Suzu said nothing, and Amkai Nanamijiyo just said, "It's nothing, I just feel that my brother took extra care of my aunt today." There was nothing much to say about this topic, so I quickly brushed it off. "Would you like to practice our new song today?" Sakakibara asked everyone. "I have work today," Sakakibara Suzu was the first to say. "I don't have a problem." Tianhai Yuli really wanted to practice. Sakakibara looked at his sister, Suzu, "Do you have to go today?" While eating steamed buns, Suzu Sakakibara held her chopsticks and said dully, "This is work. There is no reason why you must go or not, but you must go." Tianhai Kaimingyu took the initiative to take over the conversation. "The things that should be practiced were almost prepared yesterday. I think it is better to wait until tomorrow when the venue can be lent to us for rehearsal. It is better to take a day off today. This is the second day of the fourth week. In fact, during these 4 weeks, several people have been practicing almost every day. Every day from morning to night, in addition to morning jogging, there is band practice, and we gather together to discuss and determine the tone of new songs. There is almost no time to rest. To say we are tired, that's for sure, everyone is tired." So Raku Sakakibara doesn't have any objection to everyone's suggestion that they want to relax. Relaxing your mood will also be beneficial to tomorrow's performance. "Okay, I'll rest at home today and won't go to the studio." After breakfast and just washing the dishes, Sakakibara Raku found that Amami no Yuki was looking for him again. "Happy video." As soon as she said this, Sakakibara knew that she was calling him for help. "Then let's go to your room. After all, I have to take a video of you playing and singing. Call Xiaoqi and Xiaoju too." "What are you calling them for?" "Because I want to take a video." "This is not a problem." Sakakibara asked Chi and Ju. Anyway, they had nothing to do, so it was nothing if they agreed to help their aunt take the video. After putting down what they were doing, the three of them came to Tianhai's Higsyu's room together. Tianhai's Higsyu's room was in a mess, whether it was the bed or the various music equipment on the closet. All kinds of underwear were piled randomly on the bed, including bras, skirts, etc. All kinds of headphone cables were piled up in a mess beside the wardrobe. Even her electric guitar was randomly placed on the ground, as was the box containing the guitar. In the open state, there is a pinkish-white piece hanging on it. If it was the beginning, Raku Sakakibara would still feel embarrassed, but now. Just kidding, there is a pile of women's clothing floating on the balcony every day, how could it be embarrassing? He also discovered that Higsu really liked being barefoot. As soon as he entered the bedroom, he took off his slippers and stepped on the carpet with his bare feet. He took out his camera from under the table and gave it to Tianhaiju. "Li Yulai. Auntie, have you thought about what music to play?" Tianhaiju Li Yulai fiddled with the camera for a while. Yet Tianhai's Higsu nodded and sat beside the bed holding the electric guitar. Sakakibara Raku and Amami Nanamijetsu helped straighten the clothes on the bed, and then stood next to Amami Kuruori and looked at Amami Yuki holding an electric guitar and waiting to be photographed. While Amami Kuruori was adjusting and fixing the camera, Rakusaki Sakakibara asked Amami no Yuki smoothly, "Is the song you chose today the same as before?" No. Tianhai's Higsu shook her head blankly, "It's a cover." "Cover, wait. Is it a cover?" "Not a cover? You want to sing?" "It's a cover." Sakakibara Raku had never heard Yuki sing before, which made him a little more doubtful. "If I want to play and sing, is Yuki okay?" I don't know, she replied. If you're not good at singing, the number of video views won't increase. It doesn't matter, because it's meant to be played. Play it for me. Before Sakakibara Raku could realize what he meant, his thoughts were interrupted by Amamai Kurayuri's ready. What do you mean? Nanamai turned her head, frowned, and asked Sakakibara Raku with her eyes. I don't know either. Sakakihara raised his eyebrows and responded with his eyes. Tianhai's Higsu adjusted the pitch of the guitar, said to Tianhai Juli Yulai, it's time to start, nodded and started holding the electric guitar to prepare the song before it started. After a moment of silence, her left hand played a slide that had a youthful and summery feel. Just from the beginning, Sakakihara Raku can hear her proficiency in guitar skills. Unexpectedly, Zhigsu's metal rock music is very explosive, and this kind of fresh and refreshing songs is surprisingly easy to use. This song sounds familiar to me. Before long, a melody began to emerge, and her voice accompanied it. In the vast world of the unique blue earth in the infinite universe. It's much softer than Raku Sakakihara imagined, not too cold and dull, and has a somewhat ethereal and clear taste. Yuki's singing is pretty good. When Sakakibara was thinking this, he found that Nanamai suddenly frowned. Frown. Why are you frowning? Isn't this playing and singing pretty good, for Zhigsu? However, the lyrics that Amamai no Yuki sang next, and the increasingly familiar melody, made Raku Sakakihara open his mouth. As time passed by when I met you, the number of letters filled with longing for you also increased. Unknowingly, the two of them responded to each other, sometimes excited and sometimes sad. This voice was directed to the faraway place. Wait a minute, isn't this little love song? Is it a national confession song that became popular due to Proposal Battle? No wonder it feels so familiar. Coupled with Tianhai's Higsu's inexplicable play for music just now, the meaning of the song is self-evident. You suddenly realize that if two people walk side by side, even in the dim street, the moon shines every day, and the hands that are held tightly will not let go. As the singing progressed, Sakakibara Raku had already seen Amamai Nanamayu whose face turned black, and Amamai Kuruori who had not yet reacted. He now felt like covering his face. However, this doesn't count, right? After all, Tianhai's Higsu didn't say it clearly, so playing and singing this song was just a coincidence. Feeling lucky, Sakakibara continued to listen. However, after Amamai no Yuki finished playing and singing, she faced the three of them and said something serious to Sakakibara Raku, which directly caused all three of them to freeze in place. Ellie, I like you. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 253. The air was so quiet that Sakakihara Raku just wanted to slap himself in the face. He immediately wanted to understand the meaning of Zhigsu's nod to him last night. She didn't understand her feelings at all, or the two of them were not on the same channel at that time. Sakakihara wanted her to understand her feelings clearly, but she thought her expression was not formal enough. However, Sakakihara Raku will still stick to the principle he had last night. He can agree to what he can agree to, and decisively refuse what he can't agree to. So when he met Tenkai Yuki's gaze that was motionless and as pure as snow, Sakakibara Raku looked like he was deep in thought, closed his eyes, crossed his chest and said, I reject. The girl holding the guitar was not sad because of the rejection. She just blinked, and her exquisite little face continued to look at Sakakihara Raku's heartless state with her eyes closed and her chest folded. She leaned slightly forward towards him. But, I like music very much. No. Do you still need me to play a confession song? No, that's not the problem at all. You can rub your breasts every day. Don't tempt me with this. If it doesn't work, it won't work. Sakakibara sighed helplessly in his heart. Whether it was in life or love, This child's purpose was too simple and easy to guess. She may have a good impression of herself, and Sakakihara Raku also has a good impression of her as a friend, and he likes the experience of taking care of her, because Zyuki is very obedient and well-behaved, and she always trusts and obeys what he says. But these feelings are not out of love, they are completely different feelings from 7 and 9, so even if he has become a scumbag, he cannot play with other people's feelings casually. Of course, the above are just Sakakihara Raku's own emotions. For Amamikuruori, this news is undoubtedly shocking. Ellie, date me. Zhigsu, when you talk about dating, you want to eat fried ice cream every day, right? Wait a minute, wait a minute. Amamikuruori interrupted the conversation between the two, and took the initiative to look at Amami Nazuki under the side of Sakakibara Raku and Amami Nanamajetsu. Xiaoju has something to say. Tianhai's Higsu's move turned the tables and stunned Tianhai Julialawan for half a second. She tried her best to smile and said to this girl of the same age who was her own aunt, Lejun is my boyfriend now. I'm enjoying dating Xiaoju. Tianhai's Higsu seemed to be lost in thought and lowered her eyes. That's right. Tianhai Julialai was instantly relieved when she saw Tianhai's Higsu's eyes, as if she understood. I know. But Tianhai's Higsu raised her head and answered, which directly caused her brain to fragment again. No. Auntie, you know this and still do this. I don't mind. Is this a question you mind, aunt? Well, Amamikuruori had long known that her aunt was somewhat lacking in common sense about life, so she tried her best to be patient and try to explain to her why it was impossible for her to confess successfully now and why Sakakibara refused so decisively. Although Tianhai Julialai has explained the matter quite clearly, Tianhai's Higsu has been in a state of incomprehensible confusion for some reason. Because Xiaoju is dating Ellie, so I can't confess my feelings, she muttered, lowering her head. Yes, Tianhai Julialai nodded, patted his chest, and thought to himself that he finally made his little aunt understand. But Xiaoqi obviously also. Yuki, Raku Sakakihara instantly realized what Yuki wanted to say, and immediately opened his mouth to stop her. Aunt. Tianhai Kaimingyu, who had been watching, spoke up first to interrupt Tianhai's Higsu, who had not yet spoken. Sakakibara Raku's frightened heart at that moment also calmed down again. Fortunately, Chi Minjiao also understands. I almost fell into the cycle of death completely. Obviously the relationship between the two sisters has only just been repaired. Zyuki. Auntie, come out with me. I have something to tell you. In less than 3 minutes, Tianhai Chi Minjiao walked out of the bedroom with a very confused face and bare feet, and closed the door. Only Sakakibara Raku and Amamikuruori were left in the messy bedroom. Elder brother. Sakakibara noticed that Amamikuruori's sky-blue eyes had been looking at him. He sighed and explained, it seems that Zyuki watched some TV series with Suzu yesterday, which made her think that she can keep eating until she confesses to me. Delicious food. Don't worry, Liulai, Zhigsu is not a sincere confession. Tianhai Julialai is not the kind of girl who gets anxious when things happen. On the contrary, she is very calm and can think. If the person he likes is confessed and he can refuse decisively, Tianhai Julialai is of course very happy as his girlfriend. But the identity of the person confessing was somewhat special, and he had a close relationship with her, so she had to consider more things. For example, how did Zhigsu feel after being rejected, and how to deal with her actions. After all, like my brother, I had promised my grandfather to take good care of Zhigsu in this family. Kurayuri, Sakakihara Raku discovered that Tianhai Juryuri seemed to be in a state of thinking all the time. Tianhai Jurulai faced Sakakihara Raku. Did you hear what I just said? Heard it? What are you thinking? On the contrary, I somewhat disagree with my brother's point of view. Why? Sakakihara Ellie was a little surprised that Julialai would say that. Auntie, she should know the concept of confession, right? She knows, but she doesn't understand. After all, she has never had such feelings. Then what kind of emotion does brother think auntie has toward you now? What kind of emotion? Raku Sakakihara thought carefully. It should be the level of liking her. After all, I cook for her every day. Although she has no expression when eating, the seriousness with which she eats still shows that she likes to eat. Amamikuruori stared at Sakakibara Raku. So what is the next stage of the relationship that I like? Want to get closer? The next stage. I started to like her after I got close to her, but she just likes the food I cook. I also like my brother's cooking. If you know I will. It's absolutely possible for her to like you, Tianhai Julie Yulai said in a very certain tone. At this point, Sakakibara understood what Amamikuruori really wanted to say. You mean, it's possible that Zyuki really likes me? Yes, Tianhai Julie Yulai nodded seriously. What should we do? Sakakihara Raku didn't mean whether he should accept it, but how to deal with Zyuki's action. I don't know. Tianhai Julie Yulai shook her head, with a bitter smile on her face. I don't know how to deal with Chi Minjio's feelings, and I don't know much about my aunts. If possible, Sakakihara Raku would also like to write a light novel, and he has already thought of the name. It's called How to Avoid Playing with the Feelings of Three Girls When They All Like Me and Want to Date Me. Once you write it down, there will definitely be readers who will ask. Isn't it just a matter of ignoring it and cutting off all contact? Just pick the one you like the most. Sakakihara Raku can only say that he is too naive. You must know that these three girls are not ordinary girls. They all have certain connections with themselves in family. After getting rid of one level, can't we get rid of two levels? Unless you abandon all your family members and fly away. Sakakibara Raku couldn't do it. And during this period, as the person being liked, he must have felt very comfortable and enjoyed it. Nonsense, who wouldn't be happy if three beautiful girls liked her at the same time? Sakakihara Raku has completely realized himself, he just likes beautiful girls. In other words, who doesn't? Even now, he likes the feeling of holding Kiju in his arms and kissing her. It's just that he will try to take care of their feelings and their experience. After discussing with Tianhai Julie Yulai for a while, no useful results were obtained. Not long after, Chi Minjio and Tianhai's Higsu entered the house again, and this time Tianhai Chi Minjio motioned for him to talk to her alone. Sakakibara turned back and glanced at Amamikuruori, and she agreed. Sakakibara followed Nanami to the corridor. Recently, July has not been so cold, and usually prefers the emotionless Sanwilian, which is similar to Higsu. However, she is much smarter than Higsu, a natural idiot, and her dull eyes can see through a lot of things. What's going on? Tianhai Kaimingyu asked first. Just take care of Higsu, take care of her, and she will have a good impression of me. Then do you know that you haven't even taken care of your sister yet? You mean I've got you in July? Amami Nanami half closed her eyes and reached out to twist the flesh on his waist, but Sakakibara grabbed her wrist directly. The girl was suddenly pressed against the wall by Sakakihara Raku, and under his close gaze, she raised her head. What you up to? It's nothing. Sakakihara smiled. I just suddenly felt that I really like you in Kyo. Don't think that you can cover up your thoughts by saying nice things, and don't think that I don't know what you are thinking. You want to hug me on the left side and my sister on the right side, right? Yes. That's very honest, but you are a scumbag like this. Well, that's right, I'm a scumbag. Then you think I would like such a scumbag? No, in July, you are definitely the kind of person who is dedicated to feelings and single-minded. Otherwise, in July, you wouldn't have used the words of encouragement I said to you as a child to support you throughout your life. Sakakibara sighed inwardly. Then why do you ask me to share with my sister? I like you, July. Sakakibara is asking, he has no choice, Nanamijiu doesn't owe him anything. All you can do is express your feelings to her as much as possible. Do you know how long I have been waiting for your words? No. But that's not why you can kidnap me. This is my request, July. Although through the previous agreement, Kyo can now take the initiative to make some intimate actions towards Sakakibara, because this is counted in the pursuit. It's just that Sakakihara Raku himself still has to keep a distance, otherwise Ju really will see some clues. But at this stage, it is still impossible for Tianhai Kaimingyu to accept sharing the same relationship with her sister. Kiss me, she suddenly said this to him. Now. We are in the corridor now, and Juliuli is separated from us by a wall. Maybe she will open the door and come out later, Sakakihara reminded. Cut the nonsense. Oh well. Since it was Nanami Minjiu who asked for it, Sakakibara kissed her anyway. The taste is like eating a green apple that is green, slightly sweet, and fragrant. Sakakihara Raku probably understood what she was thinking about wanting to kiss her now, just because he couldn't compare to Juliuli on the surface and was very unconvinced. Tianhai Kaimingyu tucked her slightly messy flaxen hair behind her ears, revealing her fair and beautiful profile. She pursed her lips that had just been touched. Sakakihara Raku felt that she probably felt a lot better after being kissed. By the way, are we not discussing Zhigzhu? How? I want to ask Chi Minjiu what you think. Tianhai Kaimingyu leaned against the wall and said in a calm tone, as far as I know, brother, there are many girls in school who have a crush on you, right? There are also people who took the initiative to ask you to confess. There are some. Then you have to agree. That's definitely not the case. That's all sentimental. I'm not that kind of person. So my point of view is very clear. Even if your aunt really likes you, wouldn't it be fine if you don't agree? Her situation is different from mine. July and I completely agree. After talking about this, Sakakibara Raku probably understood the combat strategy of Chi and Ninth, which was to make sure that Sakakibara Raku would not agree to let the snow of the sky and sea be freed. It was obviously a sincere confession, but Chi and Ju were not regarded as opponents at all. Sakakihara Raku didn't know why, but he actually felt a little pitiful for little Yuki. It seems like no one cares about her. By the way, what did you say just now when you pulled Zhigzhu out? Just tell her not to talk about the relationship between you and me. But in fact, she didn't mean to say it. She just wanted to say that if Chi Minjiu likes you, then she can also like you. How did she know? About the relationship between us, Tianhai Kaimingyu raised her eyes again. She saw it. Sakakibara remembered that after he told Zhigzhu about their relationship, he specifically told her not to tell them. The original snow has always been remembered. Okay, that's it for today. As long as you tell your aunt more about what you can't accept, she will understand. Tianhai Kaimingyu was about to go back to the room. Wait a minute, July. Anything else? What does snow mean to you and Li Yulai? In other words, what is the relationship between you two? This question made Tianhai Chi Minjiu think about it for a long time. My sister and I haven't met our aunt too many times. She calls us Zyoki and Zyaju just because we are the same age, because of seniority. There is a certain gap between us. To be honest, I usually feel a little weird when I call her aunt, but I have been calling her aunt for many years, so I just call her sister and I have the same idea. Sakakihara Raku patiently listened to what Amami Nanami said, and he extracted one key point from it, that is, Nanami and Ju did not seriously treat Zyoki as their peers. No wonder. No wonder Aling, whom she met later, had a better relationship with Shui. No wonder Zhigzhu comes to find herself most of the time instead of looking for Chi and Ju. Probably Zhigzhu was vaguely aware of the subtle state between herself and Kiju, so she seldom bothered them both. Happy. For some reason, Sakakibara's mind suddenly flashed back to Amamiya Yuki's bare feet, hands on the wall, quietly watching him go home to change shoes in the corridor. Asterisk. After Sakakihara rejected Yuki, he planned to let her calm down alone for a while. This also means that the fried ice cream that I usually make for her is gone. Sakakihara planned to talk to her about this matter, so he took the initiative to knock on the door of her room at night. Tuk tuk. The door opened after knocking twice. In the crack of the door is Tianhai's Higsyu's little face. She also saw people outside the crack of the door. Happy. The door is open a little wider. Good evening. Sakakibara thought that his ruthless rejection today would make the relationship between him and Yuki particularly awkward, but Amamiya Yuki didn't seem to care at all. After knowing that he wanted to enter his room, he let him go. Go in. He didn't want to waste too much words and planned to make his purpose clear to her directly. Higsu, the main reason I'm here this time is to explain a few things to you, which is about your recent video clips and the recent help you make fried ice cream. I may need to put it down for a while. Wait, what are you doing? Why is the ground so messy? Only then did Raku Sakakihara see a lot of messy colored cardboard stacked on the floor in Amamiya Yuki's room. These scattered colored cardboards combined with the already messy bedroom made her look like a child when she was sitting on her knees in it. Make something for Ellie. What is it? Sakakihara couldn't tell what the messy things in her hands were. Have no idea. Sakakihara approached curiously, sat down beside her, picked up the cardboard that she seemed to have folded, looked at it, and finally understood what she was folding. What are you doing folding paper cranes? 1,000 paper cranes. She looked confused as if she heard an unfamiliar word. You know 1,000 paper cranes, right? I don't know. The girl didn't pay attention and continued to fold the things in her hands. Her legs in a duck-sitting posture were folded inward and became slender. Her feet were white and shiny, soft and delicate. Have you heard the name at least? Oh. Oh, what do you mean? I haven't eaten it. Paper cranes are not meant for eating. That's it, I've made another one. Tianhai's Higsu said this without emotion, raised her hand, and reflected in the warm-colored light of the bedroom. She was holding a paper crane that looked nothing like a paper crane. It doesn't look very tasty. Sakakibara Raku has already lost to her and doesn't want to complain at all. This is fun. What are you giving it to me for? Sakakihara Raku saw what he could barely call 1,000 origami cranes that suddenly appeared in front of him. My mother said that when you meet someone who treats you well, you can fold this out and give it to him. Mother. Speaking of which, Sakakihara Raku never knew about the condition of Yuki's mother. He only knew that she died of dystocia when she gave birth to Yuki. From now on, Shui will be in a state where she has no friends and no peers are willing to understand her. But Higsu, isn't your mother gone a long time ago? How did she say these things to you? In a book. Book. There are many words in the book that my mother wrote to me. A suicide note. Sakakihara Raku probably understands what's going on. Many mothers will write down a lot of things they want to say to their children in advance when they are still pregnant. Maybe she already knew that she might not survive, so she wrote those contents to Higsu in advance, right? Can you show it to me? Good. Tianhai's Higsu just glanced at him, then ran to the bookshelf, stood on tiptoes, and brought down a wooden box. She unlocked the lock with the key in a familiar manner and handed the book inside to Sakakibara Raku. It's said to be a book, but it's actually just a diary with yellowed pages. Sakakihara turned it over and looked at it. The front are some pregnancy diaries, which roughly describe the inner journey I went through when I was pregnant with Higsu. It was stated in it that there was actually no intention for Higsu to be born in the first place. After the parents learned that they were pregnant, they were in a tangled state of being reluctant to abort and fearing that pregnancy at an advanced age would cause fetal malformations and wanted to abort the baby. I know it may be wrong to do this, but maybe this child will want to come out and see the world. Will you feel resentful because you were given it before you were born? But every time I feel the joy of another little heart in my belly, I feel that this child is looking forward to coming to this world and watching this beautiful scenery with me. I think no one, no matter who it is, can deprive the other person of the right to happiness. After the child has some consciousness, this child will have a life of her own in the future, a path of her own, and someone who is willing to love her. After she experiences the beauty of this world, she will look back at the present and be grateful. Our decision now, right? I don't know, I don't know. Turning to this point, Sakakibara Raku was also thinking that because of the prominent family of the Amami family, he actually wanted to believe that Zyuki would be happy after being born. After all, her starting point is already the ending point for many people. So it was written in the diary that after learning that the fetus was developing well and without any abnormalities, the parents decided to give birth to her. The risks faced by older mothers are also quite high, and the probability of dystocia is particularly high. Judging from the current results, this is indeed the case. Mother definitely knows this. But in the second half of the diary, there is no entanglement and melancholy in the front, and the record is full of the beauty of life, the joy and comfort of the sun shining on your face when you wake up in the morning. Some of the messages written at the back to Zhigzhu are also full of mother's care. She wrote down the possible youth and troubles at each age in advance at the end of her diary. It can be seen from between the lines that the mother's mentality at this time is sunny and upward, full of affection and love, and full of blessings and expectations for the children she has not yet met. In the book, in the mother's imagination, Zhigzhu is definitely the kind of sunny and positive little girl. However, the fact is that Zhigzhu has been squatting at home for more than 10 years. Except for Kiju and family, she has no friends of the same age. Sakakihara turned the pages slowly, and suddenly a white paper crane fell out of the book. While he picked up the paper crane, he also looked at the diary in the book. Zhigzhu, I don't know what kind of person you will be in the future, but I think you will also have someone you like, someone who can treat you well, right? I have always hoped that you can find someone who can truly accompany you for a lifetime, someone who can give you a sense of security, someone who can give you warmth, and someone who can deeply remember your happiness and sadness. Most of all, I hope you find someone you can truly love. When you first feel that someone is sincerely good to you, please fold the folding method of the paper crane I drew in the diary and give it to him. This is also a token of hope that your mother and your father can come together. You can also use this to get what you want. Winter, the 9th day of the lunar month, stay. Ellie, here you go. Sakakibara closed the diary and looked at Amami Yuki, who was still folding paper cranes for herself again, feeling an indescribable feeling in her heart. What made him sad was that he was the first person to make Zhigzhu feel good. What made him sad was that he had to choose him.